You should be live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Shiny Boys. I'm very close to saying Disappointment Crew there, but no, this is the Shiny Boys, episode 47, I believe, unless I'm wrong on that. I think I typed 48 into the thing, but my notes say that it's 47 today, so I'm gonna go with my notes. 47. So hello, welcome. We're gonna be starting off with a recap by Aylin. If you'd like to take it away, go for it.
Okay, here we go. So we pick back up in the morning at the breakfast table, and it looks like Core, Jade, and Tamar need to have, some time to themselves. So Drady takes Avros for a walk outside.
Oh, no.
Tamar, Jade, and Core get into talking about their feelings and communication within their relationship, and it's a good start. Meanwhile, outside, Drady is chatting with Avros and discovers that he starts to get hella sus when we're talking about how he earned his fortune. She eventually finds out that he used to work as a dominatrix for the royal family, though is a bit confused as to why he's gotten so shifty about it. At the end of the relationship chats, Jade left to go for a run, and he overhears the end bit about Avros being a dominatrix and immediately returns to Cor and Tamar to ask about what that is. The group gathers around Avros, who is now absolutely ready to rabbit, and when he tries to run, he is caught in a sneaky snare that Core set up. Dangling upside down, he does confess to the group as a whole about working as a dominatrix for the royal family of Capital. And as it turns out, this whole thing is a little bit too exciting for Avros, and eventually it ends up just being Core and Avros. Avros does mention that he's planning to leave and he's not cut out for adventuring and just wants to go home. Tamar tries to work out a plan moving forward and is trying to get Drady to talk about her emotions, but that's not working. So Jade leads Drady and Tamar on some morning workout to get rid of the emotions that way. Core lets Avros out of the snare and has him go pack up since we're about to set out. While we wait on Avros, we discuss our weird dreams the previous night before setting out for the Kingdom of Crystal. It's a really magical place, but some of the magic it seems to have been drained away. Some of their towering crystals have been dimmed of their energy, and they're not working like they're supposed to. We come across an elf in town who takes us to the central point and shows us that the crystal heart has been stolen, and she tells us that they've sent people out to look for it. The magic of the crystalline pillars has offered the people here protection and extended lifespans. Upon closer inspection, we see that the heart appears to be a 12-sided stone and make some sort of connection, but it looks like we're going to try and go after Ilaria first, and that's what you missed. More details in the notes.
See the citation in the link below. No, I think that's pretty apt for what happened. We had a lot of good chats and reminisced about our adventures as Avros was hanging from a tree for a large part of the session, actually, funnily enough.
It really was a long time.
It really was.
And, if you think about that in real world terms, that's got some long-lasting effects. We should be fine.
His head is a little bit bigger because it's swollen from the blood that's drained into it at this point.
He's fine. He's used to it.
Here's funny. These are the there were some notes that I had for Avros' character that are just on the side, extra little fun details and stuff that I just gave all the extra other characters that you guys all gave me. I just gave them all extra things. So that was a fun little all the way back to the beginning of the notes kind of reveal. I didn't expect that we were going to head into that direction, but I'm glad that we drove the car off the cliff and into the lake that was Avros' history. So that was fun. But
can I just tell you something that I've just done, which I think is, I hope it's the right. Basically, my friend has been asking us to give them help with picking a new name, and their criteria were himbo energy, something you'd call a sweet but very dumb dog, and I came up with a list of things that were like that, but also I felt suited them just from knowing them. And I did just now suggest Avros because I just had to.
I think it's in there.
I like the name.
Fits that too perfectly.
Credits to Lily for coming up with Aris in the first place.
Yes. The other names I suggested were wonderful, but it's a long list, so if you want to hit them, I'll tell you later.
I think I like to think about like the DM's role when somebody gives you like an NPC. That's like crafting like a little cart, you know, like a little mine cart kind of thing. And then as the DM, I build the rails to craft the roller coaster to drive that cart into crazy directions in certain ways. You know, it's like a mutual project in that sort of way. I think that's always
My
fun.
NPCs always go off the rails. Like
They
I give
do.
Oh
Pearl
yeah, they do, and I love it.
Big Bad. I give Averos Thomas the hero icon of the campaign. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I love how all the NPCs have turned out. But okay, speaking of NPCs and them turning out, as you are now, once again, in the Kingdom of Crystal, looking upon the empty pedestal that lies before you with its 12 sides, ominously reminding you of the 12-sided stone that a certain someone made of a certain type of metallic material might be searching for potentially. You stand there with Aros as he looks at all of you with a sort of pained expression almost. As he looks to the... You know, in
Cornelius
his...
is there as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Unique Cornelius!
He's riot.
He's galloping around.
Cornelius is here as well.
He's there as well. He's galloping around, just having a good time. He's
scary.
Look at my majesty, marvel in it.
you do such a good impression. My Majesty. As he
Lucky Charms. That's not what he does.
he really would be a good serial mascot. Actually, that's.
I thought
I thought you could say he was a good serial killer.
There are two kinds of people. Oh, that's all I can say, really.
You're walking through the woods and your leg is caught in a bear trap. It's Cornelius.
Dude, I'm the type of person.
Quiet.
Dude, I'm the type of person. I went to the movie theaters, right?
Oh,
But when I went, before I went, I watched a video about like a video of like a serial killer on YouTube or something, like some deep dive into like the history.
Oh,
Before I left, I was like, Dad, here's where I'm going to be for this many hours. I'm seeing this movie at this theater just in case I go missing. He's like, what are you talking about? So, I'm just paranoid. But
I put them on in the
I'm
background whilst I'm cleaning.
I put...
watch them before bed.
I like
on
the
TikTok.
lo-fi hip-hop beats to chill and study to. Is a good cleaning.
Nah, I love Eleanor Neal on YouTube, who does the best true crime videos.
That's not
I'm gonna write that down.
Also, Thomas, there's a Critical Role has exactly what you described, like lo-fi beats to study to, but like fantasy versions of their D&D characters, and you should look to it.
What? That's cool! I'm going to look that up. Alright. Shout out to Critical Role for being a neat campaign with inspiration. I guess.
Wonderful.
Since we're giving you shout-outs, why not? But Aris is there, he's looking at all of you, and as you all are now there, how's everybody looking? Are you guys looking like you're ready to depart? What are you guys doing? How's everybody looking?
Hang on. I had that. We've just arrived, haven't we? We're fine.
Yeah.
Well, you've been there with the guide, and it's from what I remember, you kind of have archive on your minds, you know.
Yeah.
At the moment, from what I remember you guys
Archive on
mentioning.
my mind.
But you're free to do whatever you'd like to. You know, I'm not going to prevent you from doing anything, obviously. Famous last words, maybe.
Should we go back to the Feywild and just like sit in the greengrocer and see how
No, I
that's
don't.
going?
Tamar butts in. I don't think that would be a good idea. Actually, I think we've explored everything
Tamar?
we need. I think we've
Why don't you want to
exhausted.
go back?
Well, I think we've exhausted all of our leads, and I don't necessarily know if Thomas is prepared for another trip to the Feywild so soon after having just left it.
Are you sure?
I'm not.
Because
There's just something
the
in
world
me
is
that.
our oyster.
Let's crack it open. You know what, Feywild, let's go. Tamar turns around and he begins walking away.
I changed my mind all of a sudden.
Okay. That's what I thought.
I'm hungry.
Speaking of hunger, Avarice butts in. I'm hungry too. Well, leave, actually.
You want to go?
I think
Right
this would
now.
be it. Yeah, well, yes. Well, kind of.
Here's the question: does the teleportation circle here work?
Well, no, it's time
And
for me to find out.
like, She turns kind of like over to like the person
old
who was
lady?
like with us. Yeah.
Whose name was never revealed, I don't think.
No,
What is
we
your
did
name?
not ask.
She turns
What
back
is
to
your
you.
name, Miss?
We don't really care about
Uh,
Elven names. They're annoying and hard to
Marie.
pronounce.
She looks at Core in confusion.
They're always like five
As if
or more
torn.
syllables. Why would anyone bother? It's just
Last
Would you
I
like
checked,
to-
the teleportation circle still works.
Tell me your name, please.
She looks to Core and looks back to you. Are you sure you'd like to know my name?
It's a burden I'm willing to carry.
Okay.
I'm not.
Let me tell you my name.
Actively locks his ears.
Yeah.
Alright, names. What page is this name on? I know there's a name though.
That is the name. I said 5 or more syllables because that's how many syllables one of Core's parents has, and I thought that was a neat joke.
That is true. That is
I'm
true.
proud
That's
of your joke. It's
Where
fun.
is my
I'm
name?
very
Here they are. Okay. Jesus Christ! I don't think I can pronounce this. I remember this name.
Exactly. Core screams it either.
Dersvage is my name, which is spelled, for anybody who wants it, is Dergesvadj.
Entirely too many letters.
You wouldn't even kick that.
Thomas, can you type that into the chat?
I will type that
And
into the
say
chat
it
for
one
you.
more time again.
Yeah, because
Dersvage.
Where is the V?
You'll see. I'll type it in Twitch chat. Derges. Jesus Christ. Vadj.
Discord chat.
There you go. I'll also post it in other chats. I'll just post it everywhere. This name I'll just plaster onto the walls. I'll post it in here. This is easy for me to post it into.
I can see it, and I'm still confusion. Like,
I don't even want to try to pronounce the surname. It's just,
Why did you do that?
it was. I have a list of names.
Uh-huh.
Dergesvaj.
Dersvage.
Dergesvash.
That's close enough. The teleportation circle
Vaj.
does work, but that teleportation circle, she looks to Avarice, is a teleportation circle to the plane of water.
Haha.
Oh.
We do have another teleportation circle north of here that leads to the Feywild, but not to capital. And he looks around. Excuse me! May I ask you a question? I was here not too long ago. Less than a year ago. Maybe it was more than a year ago. Maybe it was a few years ago. My mind fails me a little bit sometimes. I am quite certain that I did not walk nor ride on horseback back to capital when I had to make my journey back home. How do you explain that? There's a discrepancy there. She looks at him. I don't know what to tell you. There is no teleportation circle here back to capital. There are horse rides, though. You are right about that. He thinks to himself for a moment. That can't be right.
no, Evros, there's something very wrong here.
No, I have to go. I can't stay with this group a little bit longer. I love you all. You're very wonderful. But I'm going insane. I can't stay here any longer. I have to get home. He looks at the lady and he shakes her by the shoulders. Please tell me that there's some way I can leave this place briskly.
Evros.
Yes.
We're all quite tolerable compared to you.
Horse?
You are one of the hardest people to deal
Or
with.
stay with us.
Horse or Dragonborn to ride back to capital Avros?
Cornelius.
Yes. It's me.
We
He
could
gallops
say
around.
Evros on Unicornelius.
No, Unicornelius is far too good for Avros.
To be fair, I think I would
What
get
if-
seasick atop Unicornelius. I don't think I could do that. He's also
And it's
technically
not
made of...
famous.
I mean, isn't he one of the stones or something like that? Core, isn't... I think I would just be taking it at that point. I'm guessing that you do need that on your person.
Yes.
Also, Rodrigo, what did you... Oh, sorry, I think I talked over you a little bit.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't think Drady would have
Cornelius,
forgotten what
you've
she was
stunned.
saying.
You stunned her into silence.
He considers what... We can retcon whatever you would have
I
said.
think she was saying that you can either like walk back to capital, take a horse back to capital, or you can stay with us, which is arguably the safer option.
Oh, my goodness.
I want
Okay,
to look to the woman. I want to look at Dosage and just say, is there somewhere like a spa or a 24-hour buffet where we could leave him?
There is a 24-hour spa buffet if you'd like to go visit.
Fantastic.
How much coin for you to take him there while we conduct our business?
I'll
He'll
do it.
pay.
He'll-
Avros will pay.
We'll discuss it
Please.
later. I'll do it free of charge. It's fine. I've got the whole day to myself.
Avros will pay regardless.
Avros just looks around at the rest of you. His expression, one of a man who's gazed into the void and lost his soul into it now.
Bold of you to suggest he had one in the first.
Believe me, I lost it a long time ago.
In a game of cards.
Yeah, maybe. Game of cards, game of checkers. Who's to say at this point?
Well,
Core is keeping very quiet about Avros's dominatrix, yes.
He looks at you with a pointed gaze.
Avros.
Yes?
No, if there's a pointed gaze being... I'll let you just continue.
No, that's all he does. He just shoots a pointed gaze.
Right. Jade is just like, I'll let you continue your domineering however you prefer to. But if it is the case that you cannot get back to capital, then it seems that the most logical next step is for you to exit the group and stay somewhere safe here.
Here?
And a 24-hour buffet spa seems like it would suit your needs. And you have vast wealth, which I cannot understand for many reasons. Therefore, you should probably be fine.
I mean,
so,
I am running out slowly
I think this
as we
is
speak.
goodbye for now. Oh.
I do not have remote access to all of my funds at home in the safe that I
Let
keep
me,
behind a certain portrait that you may have seen.
For the sake of good faith, let me provide you with coin.
No, Jade, please. I have more than enough. It's fine.
Okay.
In fact, thank you all for doing me
Then,
the great service
Cora's
of
actually been telling me that
choosing
this
me.
is really important, so can I have some?
How much? He seems taken aback by the question. How much coin do you need?
Core, how much coin do I need?
I don't know, how many minutes have you spent staring at Jade's abs?
None. He lies through his teeth.
I think you owe him about 800 gold?
Deal. 700.
Jade flexes.
Flexes.
Just slightly. Is that now 850 gold?
I said it's 900. That was a pretty good flex.
He ruffles through his pockets for a little bit. Parting gift, consider it. And he gives you a little bag. Nice blue velvet, kind of, with a little drawstring, gold thread. Very avarice. That he hands you. Quite hefty.
And just like, is this working?
Did you just sell your body to Avros? Technically, yes.
Okay.
You were asking
deal
what a
with that
dominatrix
later.
does? This is one component of it.
Perhaps I will deal with this later in therapy.
Certainly.
Yes.
Well, I'll head off with
This is funny.
Dorge Stan, or whatever your name was.
George Stan.
You see, Avros is an elf and he's still like, I don't know.
He looks at Core. With his head, he has a certain kind of look that you might have to insight from him. But
Okay.
Go for it.
Wait,
You get advantage because this is Avarice. I think he's the kind of character that's easy to read.
Okay, 2d20. Insight, 23.
23. You know he's never been all too good with very long names. Or remembering things in general that are even remotely complicated to remember.
New headcanon. Avros is an elf. He was born with a really long name. He just forgot half of it.
That's a really good headcanon, actually. And it's canon now, I'm saying.
Yeah,
So that's fun.
It is canon now.
That's something that you probably know, that he's revealed to you in confidentiality.
He doesn't know his other part of his name.
Call me Avarice. That's what I call myself.
Sheds a tear.
It helps me sleep at night.
That's
Goodbye, Avros.
You know what that means, though, Lily? Now, I want you to come up with a full Avarice's name. What is his real name? You came up with his name to begin with, so I want to leave this to you. Dwell on
Maybe
that.
something ridiculous.
And don't forget, whatever the long version of the name is also now the potential new name of my friend. So keep that in mind.
Avarice looks to the rest of you, and he looks back at the blue satchel. I mean, that's mostly for Jade's abs, but feel free to split it amongst yourselves if you'd like. I do appreciate
Hey, I
everything that
give
you've
you
done for
2
me.
years of good service. I get some of that.
You've gotten more than enough core from me, I'm pretty sure. Especially after stringing me up, quite literally, on that tree. I think that was...
We're a package deal. He wraps his arms around Jade's mouth.
I can buy more diamond lollipops.
Yes, you can.
I wouldn't put an S at the end of that. I don't know if I'd pluralize that necessarily with the amount that I
Goodbye,
gave you.
Avros. It's been great.
Okay.
It's been good.
Be safe, Evros.
You too. Thanks for Jade.
Continue your journeys.
Thanks, Cora. And thanks, Jade. If you need me, I don't know where I'll be. Probably at the spa, maybe at home, maybe lost. Maybe all
If I
three.
stop exercising, I will know.
I could be lost in a spa in my own house. It's quite a nice combination of ideas right there.
Yeah, maybe before the big boss battle, we'll drop in on you. Use your spa.
Alright, Georgie, let's go. Let's go. To the spa! She looks at him with a pained expression, similar to the one that he gave you at the beginning of this campaign, as the two of them begin to leave the center of the city, leaving the rest of you there, chilling around this altar. Looking around, all looks much the same it did last session. It's a very normal, kind of sunny, overcast day. I don't know if it can be sunny and overcast at the same time. Maybe it was sunny earlier.
I know his full name.
Huh?
I know his full name.
What is it?
It had to have 5 syllables.
What is it?
He has a surname that we all know. I don't know if you all know. His surname is Estelar, so his full name is Avroselius Estelar.
That's a good name! Avroselius. I can't believe you would forget that. What a dingus. I love him.
He's like, I don't know.
Avro Tortellini is my real name that I don't use.
Totally.
A one-shot could be going on the quest for his lost name.
That's my name, Avrostelli. Stelletti. Don't
And
worry.
he just forgot it. He made so many bad puns about his name, and now he's forgotten.
Cora, I've made too many jokes. What's my actual name? It's not actually Avros Tortellini, is it? That can't be right. That would be cruel.
Avros Tortellini. It's just Avros and 3 Dragonborns on a trip to the Feywild.
This is so chaotic. But you see him in the distance walk away as his fabulous visage shrinks over the horizon. Actually, this city isn't that big. There isn't a horizon far enough away that he can disappear over the top of.
But it waits for us to leave.
But he disappears along with fucking Georgie.
Deb.
Georgie's my nickname for that NPC. All right, I'm saying Georgie.
I'm calling her Deb.
Deb.
I'm
They all work.
calling her Zar.
Or Dorge Stan. Like
We're all gonna give them all different names.
You see, guys, this is the problem with elven names. Nobody remembers them.
that they really just looks like you know how people on Twitter laugh and they just go with the keyboard letters and stuff? That just looks like that. That's the name.
Probably is that how you came up with it?
That's the generator. There are some
That's how to
slightly
generate elven names. Keyboard smash.
there are some slightly more normal names. Like one of the names on this list is Za, which is just ZA, and that's kind of nice. But the surname is a bit weird though. Cherneg. That sounds like a food. Or like a drink, maybe.
That's cool.
Zah
Name. Zah.
It's a abbreviation. Like people call pizza za.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's some interesting lore there.
Ooh.
Alright, with Avarice disappearing, you now have the city to yourselves. It is now about... It's in the early afternoon at this point. You've got the rest of the evening to make your way around to wherever you'd like to, or to explore or investigate any other locations that are currently in this vicinity. Right now where you're at, looking around, to remind everybody of where we're at, this is like the center of this crystal city. You've got these massive crystal pillars kind of arcing from the ground, like shards kind of coming up from the ground, and arcing up to a point right like above this pillar, above this altar, sorry, at the bottom. Around, like, directly around you, there's a lot of, like, pavement, cobblestone. I say cobblestone, but it's a lot more, like, brick work than it is just, like, raw pebbles put into place. It's clearly got, like, a lot of design and intention behind how it's been paved, with lots of little, like, sort of garden beds, maybe, in the ground, with sort of shrubs and foliage that looks like it doesn't have any leaves on it. Outside of that, a little bit further away in a few different directions, you can see buildings, and behind you, from the way that you came, there's sort of like a marketplace if you'd like to check out some of the stalls. There are places to do that.
Hungry.
You say hungry.
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 Shall we get you some food and then we walk into whatever trap is at the archive?
Yes, please fetch me food. Of course, slumps.
Shall we have a look at what's here to offer? Do you want to go to a food stall or a restaurant? What are we expecting here?
I would like to be carried to all the free tasters in the market.
That sounds like not a bad idea.
Okay. This seems reasonable. Let's go.
Tamara looks at Jade. How about we both carry core?
Why don't we go and rent a palanquin?
That'd be fun. I wonder if we've got enough people for that. And with that...
I think we do.
Yeah, you should actually, yeah, true. To stabilize
We're
it.
strong enough.
You can lift me in one hand.
This is
This
true.
is true, but... Tamar, come inside with me. And Jade pulls Tamar aside.
Tamar
We're
gets
too
pulled
similar.
I know.
Stop stealing my brand.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Am I gonna get sued for this? Copyright infringement. I'm also a little bit green, I've noticed. As are you.
I have a type.
Where is the difference in our personality? What wouldn't you do?
What wouldn't I do? What would you do?
That's a long list.
I think there's a long list of things I wouldn't do. I think I'm a very risk-averse person. You seem like a more risk-neutral person. And Core seems like a risk-seeker. So I think we balance each other out in that way.
Nothing makes sense to me and everything is a possibility.
That's fair. I think I'm fairly oblivious to things, in general.
You do seem that way. Are you smart? Do you like to read?
I like to read. Short
you good at
stories.
Okay.
Can one
so
be
you-
bad at reading?
With lots of pictures.
I like those pictures. They help me cook.
Cora's not giving. Cora was being carried by Tamar, so I imagine that Tamar's just like swiveled him behind him or something.
Oh, I'm gonna drop you now.
Do not drop me. I'm very precious.
It's like a dad with his kid, like, oh no, whoops. Catches you by the leg.
Disturbing.
I understand.
I do like reading cookbooks, though. Cora's not wrong.
I can't cook, so this is fine.
Okay.
I just eat energy bars. Usually.
I should cook something for you. I've never tried cooking an energy bar before, but I can give it a shot.
You don't
Usually
cook
you just
energy bar,
get
you
some
bake it.
herbs and some honey or like some sort of syrup or sap and you just kind of
Ew.
leave it to harden. My favorite
And
is
then
when
you-
you
then you-
soften some oats.
And then you cook it. In a pan. No?
Well,
No.
maybe,
Bake it.
but I
Atop a fire.
am a statue, so food was also something I had to get my head around, and I'm
Boil it in water. Maybe all three.
I see that you are experimental as a person, and I can understand that and get behind it. But this is also pushing the boundaries of what I know and what I understand to be edible.
Well, speaking of boundaries, we should probably push the boundaries of the entrance to the archive open as we enter.
Let's do this right now.
After we eat.
I want food though. Of course,
Alright.
smacks.
I will go and acquire some cheeses.
Let's go. And you make
Can I
your way
order-
over to
Other
the
cheeses.
various market stalls in the market area, the market sort of district you walk over, and after a few minutes you've probably made your way over to where all the market stalls are. One thing that immediately strikes you as a little bit strange, a little bit melancholy, is that a lot of these places are closed, but there are a couple that are open here and there. You see a food stand over here, a food stand over there, you see a small cafe that looks like it's lit up and open on the inside, but there are a lot of places to your left and right and behind you and ahead of you. They're all look like they've been closed for a little while. Suspiciously so. It almost looks like this place has been partially abandoned. That's sort of a feeling that you got when you initially entered here. For such a large city, it seems to be fairly uninhabited right now at the moment. You do see people
Less
in the
elves.
distance walking around though.
Good.
So, what should we find for food? What do you all feel like?
Candy.
Candy, of course.
Sweet meats and cheeses.
Meats and cheeses. Nice. And Vidridi.
Don't worry about it. But why is this place so abandoned?
You know,
I was
That's-
thinking about that.
a good question. I wasn't thinking about it, but I am now that you've brought it up.
I was relieved by it. Less long
And
names
what
to learn.
What is? Corey, you very clearly have some sort of issue with elves. What is?
They're annoying. Too tall. Name's too long.
Interesting.
It is
I
not
once
pointed
met an
enough.
elf with a one-syllable name.
Hmm.
And that was an obscure experience.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, Drudy, am I offending you? Do you like elves?
It is not here or there. But
Okay,
just curious because you're going out of your way to be.
Mean to them?
I was going to say antagonistic, but
I am arguably antagonistic to everybody.
not really.
off my game.
Yeah, you've been rather nice to me, I think, actually, recently.
He kicked Tamar.
You'll have to
Did
try
you-
harder than that.
God damn it.
As you kick him, just it's like kicking like a hard beanbag.
Cole like rubs his toe and he's like, that actually hurt me probably more than you.
Told you, don't kick with your toe. It'll
No.
hurt your toe.
There's
Inside
a little
of
like
your foot.
sparkle of like healing magic on Core's foot.
Cole wiggles
Jade
his toe.
starts showing Core how to kick like a monk.
Oh, I can
Tamar
kick.
dies.
Put me down, Tamar.
He puts you down.
I would like to kick Tamar like I am kicking down a door.
Do you want to roll an attack roll? Do you want to actually try hit him?
If Jade shows him the formations, can he have advantage?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll an attack roll. Let's see.
What is an kicking attack? I don't know.
He doesn't.
So
Just
an armed
an
strike.
unarmed strike.
Yeah, just unarmed strike. He is not a very high.
I rolled the same thing on both dice. 18, but there's no
That-
damage.
That will hit in that case.
He does a good old smack, but he doesn't damage him.
Ooh,
Don't think he wants to.
that was better.
Yeah.
So you can kick quite hard. Maybe not
I
so
do.
much
I
when I'm
kick down
carrying
doors
you.
all the time. Has nobody noticed this?
I have noticed that. I like that about you. Your disregard for personal property. I respect that.
Thanks.
I mean, it makes sense with Tamar's past, you know, character lore and all that. And he looks around, and he points to the cafe that's, like, lit up. I like the look of that place. I'm not so sure about these. These food stands, and he points to the 2 food kiosks that he can see. One of them looks like a meaty sort of place, and he looks to Jade. Maybe they'll have cheese as well, but I don't think either of these will have candy. Shall we get some?
I'm not really hungry. I was looking for Core, so if Core wants candy, let's go and get.
Okay.
The cafe might have an iced chocolate or like an iced caramel latte, which is very high fantasy.
I could go for a frappuccino myself.
Yeah.
Oh, I think a pumpkin spice latte.
This is cursed. This is so cursed.
And Dreedy, if I find my latte, my frappuccino, I will tell you why I don't like elves.
Okay.
Onward.
So,
The hunt is on.
you all
Yeah.
head to the dimly lit cafe, and as you enter this very small establishment, in the midst of all these other establishments that are closed before your very eyes, you enter, and you see nobody at the counter at the moment, but you see a small little bell and a little sign next to the bell.
What did the sign say?
Roll for me. Perception check. How far away from the sign are you?
I get up breezing, like,
This is the most
Yeah.
arbitrary.
Up close and personal with the sign.
Yeah.
what was it? Investigation.
If you investigation, sure.
Oof. That is a 24.
24. Okay, with your investigation check, you immediately notice the smell of the drink of your choice permeating the air. That's the first thing that you notice as you investigate this landmark establishment here. Noticing the sign as well, you see that there is a back in 5 minutes message written in... Hold on. In Sylvan,
Is
I
it
think.
Elvish?
Sylvan,
Oh.
actually, yeah.
Okay, I go up to the bell and hit it.
You hit it. Ding!
I hit it
No
again.
response. Ding!
Is there
I just
the
keep going.
stuff to make a drink behind the counter?
Not behind this counter, but there's a door that looks like it leads to a sort of kitchen area. Continuing on with the
Jake goes
investigation roll, you also see, Core, that there's like not much else here. There's sort of this like one bench. It's one of these like places where you kind of go in, you order something, and you kind of leave. There doesn't look like there's any sort of seating arrangements or
Jade goes
anything
into
like
the
that.
kitchen.
You jump the counter. You open the door, and you see a sleeping elvish woman in the kitchen, just
Kick her.
Oh,
lightly snoring.
I
She's very short. She's 4 foot tall,
no
Very
need
old.
to wake her up. Why don't I?
and she's
Oh my
shimmering like a gem.
He kicks her. Wake up!
You kick
the
her.
moment you said that detail, all thoughts of making a drink went out the window. He wants to know why she's a gem person.
She
Hello.
good morning, and then the shimmer just starts
Sorry
to
for
start to
raising my
disappear from her skin.
Whatever you do, don't
Oh.
ask her name. We don't care.
You,
Wait, no. Go back to sleep.
she's got a great name actually. I like her name actually. All right. Sorry, who are you? What are you doing in this establishment? She says to you in Sylvan, so I don't know if you understand her.
Can I jump the
Don't
counter
speak
too?
Sylvan.
You could hear it, so you could jump the counter as well if you'd like to.
You
Tamara's
wanna
I'll
drink-
step aside so that Core can see, and I'll just say she looked like a gem, and then she woke up, and now she doesn't. So she needs to go back to sleep so that we can understand what's happening here.
Excuse me! What are you doing in my kitchen? Meanwhile, outside, Tamara is standing patiently in line.
That is interesting, but I was promised a caramel frappuccino
By who?
Well,
by the universe.
The universe!
by everyone.
Confound that universe.
Mhm.
It's never been kind to me.
Are
Okay.
you gonna make it or not, Shorty? He stands over.
Okay. And she gets up.
Wait, I need to know. Whilst you make your caramel thing, why were you a gem when you fell asleep?
I'm not a gem. I'm an elf.
But when you were asleep, you were covered in gem stuff.
I was a sleeping elf when I was asleep.
I'm pretty sure.
That is incorrect.
She looks at her body. Oh, you mean the shimmering effect? Just
Yes.
disappearing sometimes. That's from those crystal spires that you see all over the place. They're
But
not
why
as
did it dissipate when you woke up?
the magic is just not as strong.
Oh.
Think of it like a charge. When you're sleeping, you don't use as much energy, so it charges you a little bit more. But then as soon as you're awake, it kind of dissipates. That's not so much the case when, well, the crystal heart is here, but it's been gone for a long time, so we're, well,
Okay.
dying
So
slowly.
you were asleep and you're charged up.
Yeah,
So
you
you
can
have
make
energy to
Yes.
make my caramel frappuccino.
of course.
I knew where that was going.
That'll be caramel frappuccino. Okay, hold on. Let me just check my menu over here. Yep, that looks all good. Do you have a milk preference? We have soy, almond, milk, oat. We have gem milk as well.
What's
That
gem
sounds
milk?
like cannibalism.
It's
to me.
just gems.
Okay.
That's definitely cannibalism.
It's just rocks instead of the milk.
Oh.
We just put it in place of where the milk would go in the recipe usually.
No, actually, I think I'll go for the oat milk. That sounded better.
Okay, oat milk it is. And she begins.
I'll have something match her.
Okay. A matcha. Do you have a milk preference as well? We make it with different milks also. And gems.
Not cannibalism.
Does it need to have milk in it, or can
It doesn't need to, but we can put it in if you'd like. It's just an option.
Oh, not gems. I am gems. It would feel
Give him
wrong.
soy. He's
It's-
a soy boy.
Nice to meet you, Gem. I'm...
Oh.
Wait, where is that name? Dude, I need that name.
You wouldn't walk up to an elf and
My
call
name
an
is
elf,
Urkith.
"Hello, gem."
I love her name. Okay. So,
Elf.
no Gem. Okay. And she begins to make it. It'll be a 15-minute wait. We make everything by hand here.
Core
No.
storms out of the kitchen.
This is an all-natural, organic, no magic environment. Even though magic is completely organic. We just do this
Jade.
because it attracts a lot of
Yeah,
hipster
I'm
elves.
leaving.
The younger generations really like this stuff, you know.
Uh-huh.
The doors just swing shut.
It's one of those hipster establishments.
It's one of those trendy sort of like, it's a little kind of, you know, just out of the way, kind of on the corner, you know, you gotta know where it is to kind of
on the
find
counter?
space.
And yet
Oh,
it's
no seats
still
inside,
here
that's
when
like-
everything else is closed down.
Yeah, low operational
Doing
costs.
The operational.
So, in the meantime, Virginia, what would you have been doing in like the 1 minute that elapsed, if anything?
Can she have just been like, I don't know, investigating like outside?
Oh, like the surrounding environment. Yeah, actually, roll for me a perception check if you're looking around.
Because she wants to investigate, like, basically, like, if she can determine how long everything's been abandoned.
Okay.
Trudy's the only one doing the serious one.
Look, you know, it's up to you
We're
guys if
just
you want to.
like caramel frappuccinos.
Oh,
It's like my
yeah.
pages of DM lore or caramel frappuccinos.
Frappuccinos.
We know it.
Trudy's not fussed about the frappuccino.
I love
I'm
it
sure
all.
she'll get herself like a matcha latte, but like, you know, afterwards.
Alright, perception.
14 on the die
Mhm.
plus 8, and that's 22.
Okay. With your perception check, as you're looking around the environment,
Yeah.
outside of the buildings, so I'm guessing you're paying a little bit less attention to the buildings, but, you know, you kind of get the gist of what's around, you know, a few places are open, a few places are closed, unless you're specifically looking for a certain type of shop, I'll skim over that. looking around for the kinds of people and, like, you know, any sort of information regarding how long everything has been shut down, what's going on here, why is there so few people, what you can kind of gather from looking around, firstly, is that you've noticed at this point, probably, with your perception check and your relative internal intelligence, that it seems to be that only elder elves are here. Like, all the people you've seen walking around and chilling around here are, like, as far as elves are concerned, like, the elderly, basically. These people are all quite advanced in their years. That's something that's common to all the elves that you see here, which is generally uncommon in elf populations to begin with, because elves just live an incredibly long time, usually. So to see the majority of the population, or even the entirety of the population here, be elderly elves is very strange, which gives you the idea that it looks like the younger elves, or the adults, have vanished or left for whatever reason. Looking around, there is sort of an interesting sight that you see further away from you, closer to one of those big crystal shards popping out of the ground. It looks like it's more magically charged. You see that there are a few people just kind of meandering about, loitering in a way, just sort of standing about and sitting around very close to this charged crystal, a little way away from here, just in the sort of distance. But outside of that group of people, you don't really see people in the general vicinity. Looking around further behind you and all around, you see that there is another sort of more lit up, magically charged sort of crystal spike protruding from the earth beneath you. Is it still earth if it's not earth? Like, earth is like dirt, but is it earth in the fantasy world? I don't actually know. But protruding from the ground...
We call earth earth because of the earth beneath our feet, so it's not...
Ah!
But it doesn't have to be the name of the thing.
Cool!
Place.
Lowercase e.
Yeah.
True. So, protruding out of the earth, lowercase e. You do see that there's another spike that's a bit more magically charged, and you see another couple of elderly elves just kind of meandering about, chilling beside the spire. And it seems like outside of those specific locations, you don't see people hanging around many other places. Just with your general perception as well, you do notice that there are quite a lot of these spikes protruding from all sorts of places, but the majority of them have lost their magical charge, it seems like, and there are only very few that seem to have remained. And even ones that you've seen that were pretty magically charged yesterday have already begun to dim a little bit. So it seems like, from that if there are still a few charged here now, that this has only sort of started happening somewhat recently. As in, you could probably pinpoint, with your role, that maybe this place would have been quote-unquote abandoned within the last sort of couple weeks at the most. But definitely not anything like a year or months worth of time. This is like a somewhat more recent phenomenon.
All right.
But it's been definitely more than a few days.
Okay, here's my question.
Yes.
Is it possible that Drudy could put together that maybe the elderly, the only reason that they are still here is because they can't leave, whereas the younger people would have stronger immune systems and be more likely to leave the safety of the pillars?
That is a very medical, intuitive thing that you could, I think, fairly reasonably come to.
Okay.
I think this is like entirely within the realm of something Drudy would come up with. I think that's pretty spot on, I think.
Okay. Emma, you had a reaction, so I was just like waiting for.
I just saw a picture of a chihuahua.
Oh, okay.
And it just made me laugh.
But that is something that I think you could reasonably come to, especially with like the information that you've gotten since you came here about the pillars emanating a sort of protective magic among like all the people that are there, you know, and having that sort of health boosting, life elongating sort of effect. You could probably reasonably assume that there are some very good reasons why the elderly would not want to leave this place under any circumstances, regardless of what the case might be.
Okay, yeah. She just kind of, like, she's just looking around outside and then comes, like, you know, back in. Essentially, she was just looking for, like, a level of, like, dust or accumulation of cobwebs or something, but...
No, it's definitely been abandoned, like, fairly recently. Or I say abandoned. It hasn't been abandoned, but, you know, depopulated very quickly for whatever reason, whether people have left, poofed into thin air, you know, that sort of happened within the last... It's hard to pinpoint exactly how long, but within the last month, definitely, at some point.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
As you come back inside, you see your beloved party members there, And Urkith comes out with the drinks in hand, and she looks at you and the rest of, that Tamara's there and you're there. I was going to say the rest of you, but it's just you two outside of the others who ordered drinks. She puts them onto the counter, and she dings the bell. It's an order bell. Ding!
Order up. That'll be 2 silver pieces each.
Legally, if a drink takes more than 5 minutes to prepare, I think it should be 1 copper piece.
That's good, considering it only took 1.5 minutes per drink.
You said it would take 15 minutes, Thomas.
It took more like 30. Combined.
Jade will pull
I
the
think I did it
blue
within
purse
2
out.
minutes.
No.
Pull the Avros purse and just open it. And just
All right. Inside you see 1,000 gold.
Jesus Christ. So, I'm gonna roll a d20 to see whether Jade has learned anything from his mistakes of money in the past.
Okay.
Natural 1. It was on the cheek.
Guys,
I have nearly 6,000 gold, I just realised.
Yeah.
1.
you guys have gotten a lot of gold.
Okay.
And it's surprisingly not spent all that much of
Jade
it.
starts just like putting gold on the counter.
No,
like, as if she's counting it out.
Jade, we're not married, but I will divorce you. Put them all back.
She looks at you for a minute.
Do you want?
I don't carry that much change, I'm sorry.
Do you want to marry me? What does that mean?
He looks at Drini. Help.
Drini just shoves the 4 silver across the counter.
Thank you.
She pockets it. She like slides it off the counter into her other hand.
And what
Here's one
would
of
you
those-
two like to drink?
Tamara looks at you, Verdrini, first.
I will just have whatever Jade had.
Okay.
Another, I've already forgotten what it was. I know there was a caramel frappuccino, but Jade,
No, it was a soy matcha.
soy matcha.
Yeah.
Soy matcha coming right up. That'll
I
be
love you, soy matcha. Get it? Because it's fun.
Oh, so. Oh. Alright.
That'll be a 1.5 minute wait.
And Tamar, having waited there already for almost 35 minutes, says, could I also order while you made those other two so quickly at the same time. I would just like to order as well at the same time in advance.
Yeah, I'll be fine. What would you like?
Venti frappuccino.
Oh damn.
Soy
He
milk.
knew, didn't even hesitate.
Oat milk for me personally. I like the gluten.
Okay. I'll be right back. That'll be a 2 minute wait.
And she disappears for about 30 minutes. So you have some time in the lobby.
So
Drady just puts 4 more silver down and just like on the counter for her when she comes back, just assuming.
She's either
That's nice of you, Drady.
that is thank you, Trudy, for treating us. I'll treat you next time, and the rest of you as
It
well.
was-
Or sips loudly.
Don't worry about it. Now that Cor has drink answers.
Ah, yes. It's such a funny story. Who wants to hear it? Corey's set up on the counter. He just swings one leg over the other.
But I think that Jade wanted his answer first.
Oh, sometimes
I don't understand that. Was this one of those moments where you were making a reference that I did not understand, or
Jade, we're not getting married right now. That's the answer to your question.
that's good. Seems too soon.
Yes.
Tamar turns a different shade of green.
Tamar,
Grady
hold
looked
on.
very
Hold on.
amused. Well, stoic but amused.
I'm sure you had a lot of fun with that, Trudy.
She just blooms a little bit, as opposed to grinning.
And yes.
How does the outside world appear, Druty?
Only the elderly left behind.
Aw.
And they loiter by their magic pillars, but the pillars are dimming.
What do you think it is? Do they just like the pillars?
No, they rely on the magic.
Oh,
They're gonna die without the magic.
that's a bit morbid.
To be fair, if they're elves, they probably already lived like a very, 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 very long time.
Maybe we should ask this lady about that. She seems pretty close to death. Pardon my words.
You can ask her in another 40 minutes.
Do you think her sense of time is warped? Or is she pulling all of our legs?
Oh, there's probably some kind of fairyland shit going on here.
Because
I
she's
come
a...
in.
just go in and ask
One
her.
day.
And Jade starts
Jade,
to
you will
vault.
slow her down, and the drinks will take even longer.
Yes, but
I think I'm discovering that I'm impatient.
Jade, you enter the kitchen.
Oh, how did I get here?
I was like, do you? You know?
Jade just like sneaks over by the time you try and stop him. He's opened the door.
So what do you mean? I'm here. I'm inside the kitchen now. All of a sudden, hello.
Oh,
Do you go in? Are you actually going in? Perception check if you're in there.
sure. She's asleep, isn't she? It's low though, so I don't know. 12.
12. You're looking around. First thing you notice is that there is a fire going at the top of like a sort of pit, small pit, and there's a little pot. It smells like there's milk being warmed atop a fire, which seems kind of nice and
That
homely.
sounds pleasant.
And you notice that she's not there. She's gone. She's not in the room. There are no exits out of here. There's no emergency exit or anything like that. There's just the door in to this place.
that's a safety hazard.
Yep, it is.
Sorry.
Tiny
Can
empty
I
place built without...
Try and find her, and I will tell the group that she has disappeared.
Yeah, sure, you can look for her. Roll for me an investigation check.
18 plus 2, dirty 20.
30, 20. Okay, you rummage around this very tiny but homely kitchen. You make your best effort to avoid the literal campfire that is in the middle of this room, inside this wooden building. As you search around, you find tons of ingredients for all sorts of drinks and foods and that sort of thing that look like they could be made into stuff. A lot of stuff that won't perish. You know, you see a lot of seemingly fresh vegetables. And then you see some herbs that don't look like they belong here as you're investigating.
Oh, no.
And these herbs, like, the way they smell, you can't exactly tell what it is just from looking at it. It's just a sort of...
Has she
plant.
drugged us? Can I do a nature check on these herbs?
You can, yeah.
See if they look poisonous or anything like that. 16 plus nature. It's 18.
18, with your nature check, they don't smell like something poisonous. But they do smell quite nice. They smell like the Feywild.
Oh no.
That's what they bring back to mind. You kind of think...
She was really old, wasn't she?
She was very old.
Like old, like hag ages of old?
Yeah. You don't usually see elves get to this, like,
Cool.
look to this stage of life. But, you know, she looked pretty old. Pretty short, too. And then
I
there's
wanted to slowly
yeah.
turn
As you turn around, yeah, what are you trying to do?
I want to slowly turn around and look at my friends, and I'll just say, don't drink anything, she's a hag, and she's drugged us, maybe.
And at that point, there's a magical boom as she re-teleports back into the
Oh.
kitchen. It's sort of a silent sort of... as she reappears. Yellow. What are you doing in my kitchen?
Are you a hag?
That's kind of rude.
Are you a hag?
Maybe. I like to think I look okay for my age.
I look at the others like,
And then she pulls out some more herbs that smell a lot like the Feywild again out of her pocket. Seems like she's gotten more of the same stuff that she has there.
how is that possible?
How is
You're-
what possible? Well,
went to the
okay, so
Feywild
what
just
I...
now.
Oh, I thought you meant the drink.
No, we've jumped all over the place, gone to planes that shouldn't really exist, for all we know, trying to get in and out of planar travel.
Mm,
But you just did that thing right then, where you just went, and you were gone,
yeah.
and then you were
Must
back.
be immensely powerful.
You must be immensely powerful.
I teleported
Also.
to the Feywild. No, I didn't actually do that. But I can teleport short distances. I have a hub in my home. I have a sort of warehouse. Well, not really a warehouse. I have a very large closet full of herbs
grow?
from different planes.
I see. So you grow your own supply of herbs here from the
Well, I don't grow them, but I have some sources that I sometimes meet and see. We have a teleportation circle here in the city that goes to the Feywild. And there's
I
a lot
look
of...
to the others. This seems linked to the reason we're here today.
How do you mean? Oh, pardon me for a second.
I'm
She
not
pushes you aside as she throws the herbs into the pot. Sorry, it was just getting to that time. You know, it's about 12 seconds have passed. We gotta wait another minute or so.
12 seconds have passed. I look at my friendos and I say, this seems pertinent to our quest somehow.
Are you pertinent to our quest?
I don't know what your quest is. If your quest is to have matcha lattes, then I am pertinent to that quest. I hope you come
That
back,
is a
in
stopping
fact.
point along the quest.
I don't understand what you're questing for.
We have a few things. First of all, we have missing family members. Points to Driti.
Okay, what do they look like? I haven't seen that many people recently around, but
Points to Driti.
I haven't seen anyone that looks even remotely similar to you. There was somebody who was very tall and looked like a tree. Brutus, I think his name was.
Oh,
No! But that's also a link.
How is...
That's also...
What do you mean?
That's a link.
Hmm? How so? What do you know about this... What do you want to know about this person?
He worked for Medusa, right? I'm talking to everyone. I'm not just talking.
he worked for Medusa.
I think we confirmed that, yeah, that he was linked to Medusa.
I've made
Yeah.
very bad decisions in my life, and that was one of the worst.
He did seem pretty rude when he came here.
Yeah, but he's so tall.
He was. He bumped his head on my ceiling multiple times. And she
Speaking
looks
of-
up to see, and there's scuff marks on the ceiling.
Speaking of tall, have you seen anyone who same height as him, points to Jade, and light purple skin?
Light purple skin. She thinks for a moment. I don't think so. But generally, I can't tell people.
Look.
She looks at the rest of you.
Listen, this is a bit of a rare situation. You see my skin tone right now, and you look at her, and she's this sort of a ghoulish, like, pale blue almost. She's a sort of unnatural skin tone color for an elf.
Are you dying?
Well, yes. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I should probably be dead already, under natural circumstances. But this
How
is
old are
sort
you?
of... How old do I look?
Do you want an honest answer?
Yes.
Cor purses his lips and looks at the others.
Tamara looks at you and just shrugs.
Jade says, I literally just did that. Can you not? Can you just...
Come on, hit me with your best guess. If you do that, these drinks are in the house. If you guess within 100 years, I'll give them to you for free.
Most elves live to 800, and I would say you're older than that.
That's probably a good guess.
Can I do a medicine check?
You can, if you'd like to.
Can I do an insight check?
Yeah, you can.
Wait. 16. I think. Hold on.
On insight,
No, just let me double check.
you hear the oat milk bubbling in the background.
Yes,
Jill will
16.
just take it off the heat.
Thank you.
16 and medicine check.
Wasn't a
24.
great roll.
Okay, so with your 16 on insight, we'll do that first. You get the feeling. Now, you've seen some older elves. One thing that is pretty commonly known about elves, and what you've known about elves, because you've been involved with elven culture here and there, you've read about stuff, you've heard things, you've seen a lot of things as well, you've traveled around. You know
Trudy will
elves.
get my elf trauma at some point.
You know that one thing that is common is for elves, naturally, their aging process seems to kind of slow down to a point where it's almost unnoticeable after a certain point, and they just kind of always start to look like they're maybe in their 50s in human years, for example, right? And then they don't really age past that for the remainder of their 800 years until one day they just sort of die from natural causes. Around that point, roughly. But this lady is clearly an elf. That's something you can tell from your insight check. You know that for sure. She's not mixed with any other species or any other race or anything like that. That much you can tell. There's no fangs or, like, tail like Zephy's had or anything like that. She's just an elf. However, she looks, like, almost decrepit at this point, which leads you to think that she is probably quite a lot older than 800, if she does age in the same way. And given what you know kind of now about how the Kingdom of Crystal works magically, that might also be a part of a clue as to how old she might be. As for how old she actually looks, let's say that at 800, if you look like 50 or 60,
She looks, if for a human, she maybe looks like, you know, Prince Philip levels of old.
4,300.
That's quite a big guess. And Vedridi, with your medicine check, you could probably pinpoint from some key features maybe that you're looking for as a medicinal person yourself, a doctor. You have some telltale signs of like, you know, well, you know, noses grow, ears grow. Even for elves, you know, their ears start to get longer and longer and that sort of stuff. And you can see that her ears look like they've grown quite a bit, but there's been some sort of injury at some point that might have chopped off the actual tippity-tip ends. And you can see from like her head and from her wrinkles and stuff like that, underneath that sort of a light shimmering gemstone magical effect, you get the feeling that she's probably around 2,000 years old.
If it's less than 4,300, I'm unimpressed.
It's less than that. I don't know of anyone who's ever lived that long.
Druidi's gonna signal core the answer very subtly.
Oh yeah, sorry, I meant 2,100.
That's about right. 2,042, actually.
Bang on.
Bang on indeed.
That means free drinks.
Free drinks! Congratulations. I have a feeling that I might not be around for much longer, though. Even with the magical effects of the city, we usually don't live much further than 3,000. But with the magic of the city gone, I don't think many of us are going to survive.
You've lived long enough.
I certainly have.
Why are you doing this?
Oh, I just like making drinks for people. I've always tasted nice...
I mean everyone in the city, I don't understand. Why are you doing this?
What do you mean by this?
Extending your lives. What's the point? I don't understand.
Well, it's kind of a nice fantasy, isn't it? Especially if you're afraid of dying.
Don't elves live long enough?
We do, but, you know how having too much of something works sometimes. Sometimes you can't get enough. There's always more world to see, and, well, we're kind of trapped here. These crystals, as far as we know, have been here for a long time. Now, the Kingdom of Crystal itself has been around longer than I have, surprisingly enough. But it does have that same life-extending effect on all things here. In fact, all of you probably have some magic in you from this place. I'm sure you felt it. The wildlife, nature, is all affected.
Thomas, can I clarify? When Jade
Yes.
came in here, you said that it didn't have a similar effect on him as it had on the others, right?
It's true.
Can I see these crystals?
The gemstones? Or the actual
Yep.
pillars, are you referring to?
What would be the thing that gives the power?
Definitely the pillars that are lit up with the magic
pillars.
energy. Virginia saw a few of them, and you walked by them.
Up close.
I think there are a few that are still magically charged. I think they'll probably be charged for another, maybe week or so before all the magic is gone. And if the crystal heart isn't returned by then all of us will be gone too.
Have you made funeral arrangements?
Well, I'll be going to the Feywild on one last time. But I think as soon as I teleport to the other side, I will drop dead on the spot. But I would like to go with my family as well. I've always told them that I would want to, I wanted my ashes spread in the Feywild. It is quite lovely. And it smells also very nice. There's just something magical about the twilight sky that I just want to see one more time before I go.
That's beautiful. Should we go look at the pillars?
Yes.
I'll leave you to it. Here's your drinks.
Goodbye, short elf lady.
Here you go. And she hands over the remaining 2 drinks and leaves the 4 silver on the table.
I hate elves. Of course, as they leave the shop.
I mean, there was a total of 8 silver, and Druidi didn't take it back, so.
Okay. She did take the first 4, but after the age guessing game, she didn't seem to pocket the other money. But she sits down in the kitchen.
If Druidi doesn't take the money, Cor will sweep it off the table and slip it into Druidi's pocket later.
Okay, Corey, you take the money back. Tamara goes with you. And whatever you may think of elves, this is a really nice drink. I actually quite like this. It tastes like the Feywild.
Yeah, I'm not thirsty anymore. Cor chucks us out.
You chuck yours out. You're a fey drink. Also, did Emma's computer die? I heard the Mac startup sound.
Yes, that's why I'm only on audio. So.
Oh. Well, actually, we can use this opportunity to take a quick loo break, in that case. Get some actual real drinks as you make your way over to the pillar. I think this is a nice natural point to take a little bit of a break before we come back and investigate what the darn tootin' heck is going on in the Kingdom of Crystal. We'll be right back. Let's BRB for a few minutes. Clickety click.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm obsessed.
And where on earth is the right scene? Hello, we're back.
Hello.
With Shiny Boys. Welcome. So, how are you all feeling? How's everybody doing as you're walking over?
Very
Jade is kind of like a bit more determined for walking with a bit more purpose.
Okay, walking with purpose. As you walk with purpose, pointedly towards the nearest pillar, Virginia, this is the one of the ones that you were looking at, maybe the one with a few more people surrounding it. But from here, it looks like maybe about 4 elves just chilling, just vibing next to the pillar, having a bit of a silent disco. I don't know why that image came to mind, but as you make your way over, that's the scene that you take in as you walk over with your nice drinks in hand. After about a minute of walking or so, you pass through most of the market district. There are still a few stalls here and there. You see an armory that's closed. You see a few clothing stores that are also closed for the most part. A lot of these places are just shut right now. With the odd food place here and there and the odd armor kiosk kind of still open with somebody vending there. There isn't a whole lot of livelihood in this place. And you walk over and you finally come up to these 4 in varying in height, these older looking elven women, all chilling around this pillar, and they notice you and they sort of smile at your presence. And they've all sort of got that, as you look at them, as you take them in, and as you get closer to this pillar as well, this is an effect that will happen on you too, they do have that sort of sparkly, gem-like magical effect that seems to kind of affect their skin. As you walk and get close to this pillar, you too feel that sort of wave of like gentle magic brush over you as you're enveloped by the aura of the pillar in a sort of way. And while you're in range of this pillar, you will have once again an advantage on all saving throws that you make in this zone, but only saving throws, not checks, unfortunately. Not that that's super necessary, but that is the effect of this loose magic that you get for now, with it not being charged. Who knows what it would be capable of if it was completely magical. But you walk up and you see these 4 ladies chilling. 3 of them are standing, just sort of idling, not really doing all that much, with one of them has a drink in her hands. She's sipping from something, and one of them is sitting down, resting against the pillar itself. And they all look...
We do not want to know their names.
Fairly
No,
old.
Jade is
All of their names in sequence are...
Ah! Jade walks right up to the pillar, just like he wants to go and like close enough that he can get like hands on.
Alright, you walk up to it, and you feel like the buzz of that magical energy get stronger as you get closer and closer. And once you're up to the point where you're close enough within touch range, you feel like the magic is strongest when you're closest to the pillar, which seems to indicate, this is sort of obvious before, but this confirms that it's like emanating outwards. And it feels very... Well, it doesn't seem like this is a sort of magic that's kept here on its own, or it doesn't come from the ground or from the gem itself. It seems like it's very like naturally charged, if that makes sense. It's not like this is not the kind of magic that you'd expect like a spell would put here, in a way.
Jade, this might be a bit like on the nose because this is kind of like what Jade's train of thought is, but he wants to see if there's any similarities between the pillar and himself in terms of like the material they're made of.
Okay.
So
how would you like to determine that?
Nature, Arcana, Investigation come to mind.
Alright, I like the sound of all of those. I would say that I'll just get you to pick what you think how Jade would want to investigate it, and I'll give you a different answer depending on how you decide to investigate it. But I'm not gonna guide your hand in terms of like how you should look at this. I think this is up to Jade. How would Jade go about doing this?
Probably nature. He's not really an Arcana boy.
Is there anything we could do to give advantage on a nature check?
I was about to say that I think I would let Jade have an advantage because you're made of the material that you're comparing it to. So I think you just naturally get an advantage to that.
Okay.
It's very like, I am Jade. How much like this am I, or how much like me is this kind of thing. So
how much like the me is this? I'm going to use my pink one and my green one.
Go for it.
Thank you. The pink one was a 7 and the green one was a 3, so it's 9.
9?
Oh.
Okay. Unfortunately, you won't be able to get in much information, but there is still some baseline info that you could probably get. It's going to be a lot less, maybe deep than you might be looking for, but some things that you could contrast is that it doesn't seem like this crystal
like shard kind of popping out from the ground is made of jade as well. It doesn't seem to be the same exact material as you, but there is a similar. Well, there's an interesting sort of comparison which you can make, which seems to be that like this is not a carved material. Like this hasn't been purposefully shaped like this or anything like this. It's very much like a natural sort of protrusion from the earth that some effect of some kind at some point in the past may have caused. It's hard to say exactly what, since you're kind of standing on ground that has probably kind of built up over time, and given from what you've learned that these have been here for like, at least a few thousand years.
Sure.
But that's the sort of difference. Whereas you're like a sort of statue with an intentional shape, if that makes sense. Whereas a rock is just kind of a rock that just sort of exists. This is kind of like that. It's just sort of a naturally occurring object. But outside of it being like a sort of naturally occurring thing, and what was the other thing that I said?
I got a 9.
Different,
it's okay.
different material. That's kind of as much as you'd be able to garner from that, from your investigation. But it makes sense because it's not the same material as you.
Okay.
Agree?
Can I attempt to
No,
pour
you cannot.
some magic
Definitely not. Okay, no, sorry. Okay.
into it and like charge it a little bit more? Like,
Oh, like that. Okay. Yeah, you can try. How would you like to do this? Are you going to cast a spell while you're touching the pillar?
yeah, I was gonna say, could she like reach out and kind of like channel a little bit of like druid craft into it, I guess, or
Okay.
like any sort of like magical energy, like a
Sure.
low level bit
Alright.
to see if it'll take anything.
As you put your hand up to the pillar, as you touch it, which is I think the first time anyone in the party has done this so far.
Yeah.
As you touch it.
Jade was planning on touching it.
Oh, were you actually touching it? Okay,
He
that
wanted
would.
to put his hands on it, he said.
Okay,
Yeah.
then you will experience a similar effect that you would have seen Jade experience. Maybe. Actually, hold on. How this? Actually, to you, it might not look that obvious, but Jade, as you touch the pillar, you would feel a much, much, much stronger surge of the magical energy flowing through you and into the earth, like it's being dispersed out of the pillar through you in a way. It seems to kind of be like emanating out through the air as well, which is why you kind of feel it. But as you touch it, you would feel it sort of like connecting with the ground beneath you, and that sort of magical power would flow through you, and that will give you an advantage on any checks of your choice as well as some other less obvious magical boosts, which you would kind of feel sort of innately, but they would be hard to describe. But you also would gain some temp HP from touching this pillar. You gain... Let me just check my notes because it's been a while since I've looked at this.
Is it a D12?
Hold up. It is a D12 actually. How did you read my notes? How did you? Aylin, did you sneak into my house, open my notebook, and look to the page that I wrote so long ago about this place? It is actually.
Oh yeah, Aylin somehow managed to get into Australia.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
did
you
you
know,
do it? Tell me your secrets. I need to know.
Doctor shit, astral projected just through the notes.
I see. This is okay. Now I understand exactly. It's a D12. I'm just here like,
How did
what?
you get that?
It is a D12. You gain a 1 D12 roll worth of temporary HP. So roll ahead.
I do think we need to recognize how nice and floofy Emma's fringe looks today.
It is nice and floofy.
Ah,
Yeah.
I had a haircut.
Nice. Same haircut, fam.
Yay! My hair also was dyed, so it's all the same color again.
Oh, nice. Looks
Yay.
good.
Thank you.
I like your hair. Alright.
Thank you.
D12, did you roll it?
Me?
Yes.
Hello, me?
Hello, you.
Hello, me. Pink. 7.
You get 7 temp HP from touching the
I've
pillar.
got 100 HP!
Nice. Let's go. 100
What?
HP. The absolute
I've got-
behemoth. Jade, you grow one
I'm a
size
tank.
category larger. No.
I'm a tank.
I am such a weak bitch.
And you do appear like the sparkly sort of effect seems to go a lot deeper into you this time. Whereas before it was a very surface level sort of like kind of effect.
Let's
This time
hit deep.
now it's deep. Now you know. Now there's a lot more depth. There's a
You do
plot.
say
There's a
it.
3-act sequence of there's a whole hero's arc in there as well. But no, you get
Oh, dang.
that sparkly effect sort of permeates through your gemstone physique.
I feel porous all of a sudden.
You don't want to be porous,
Why?
Jade.
Sorry.
Swiss Jade.
He's so stupid.
He's
I
great.
just
well, speaking of, not really speaking of pores, I don't have any way to segue this naturally, but Rodridi, as you touch the pillar, you experience some similar effects to Jade. The same sort of described effect of like the magic kind of flowing through you from the pillar into the ground as it sort of disperses before you get a chance to cast anything. You do also now completely change in appearance as you touch the pillar. Whereas before you would have this sort of faint sort of sparkly effect, making you look more gemstone-like. As you touch the pillar, you suddenly look quite a lot more like Jade, completely turning into like a gemstone version of yourself, with this sort of this fluorescent sort of color, ever changing, much like Jade now as well. That's this sort of like sparkly sort of effect as you touch the pillar. Although as soon as you let go, this effect will inevitably stop. Which is, Jade, if you did let go of the pillar, you would have noticed that as well, and now you're just like regularly sparkly. As I don't know how to put it otherwise, but your deep sparkle has dissipated.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep anymore.
Do you lose the temp HP?
No, you get the temp HP for good, or for well, until you lose it, I guess.
I want temp HP.
I was
Cool.
gonna
Also
say, Rodridi,
this thing.
I would like you to roll for me a d12 before we get into you casting the spell and Core also touching the pillar. Maybe.
Cool. I think you would enjoy touching this large pillar.
Both Core and Tamar just look at Jade.
we both look at Jade.
It gave me temp HP.
I'm sure it did.
The way that I guessed the temp HP dice was because the crystal heart is a D12. So I was like, it's D12.
There's some D12 themes going on, so yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot of insight into the thematic nature of this city in a way. So what'd you roll?
Sorry.
Oh, I rolled an 8 on
8?
the D12.
Temp HP
So I'm
to you.
88 with 8 temp HP.
Nice. You get temp
Yay!
HP. You get temp HP. You get temp HP, and you get a car. You get a Lexus, my friend Core. Core, would you like to touch the pillar as well? Actually, wait. You touch the pillar as Rodridi casts the thing. So roll for me a d12 Core. As you touch the pillar, you also feel a sort of magical energy
8.
flow through you. As you get 8 temp HP, and you turn into a gemstone version of yourself as well. One thing that there are some weird properties to this sort of effect, which will become obvious depending on what you do, but it does feel like a sort of strong magical energy now. Also, all of you, while you're touching the pillar, get advantage on any checks that you do, as well as saves. Rodridi, as you attempt to cast magic into the pillar, very quickly you realize that despite your best efforts to attempt to charge it with your natural magic, as you attempt to pump it with some magic, it seems like way more magic is flowing out of this pillar into you, through you, into the ground, than you can charge up. It does feel like maybe there's some sort of transference of energy going on, although it's very, very hard to tell. But it seems like the amount of energy that's in this pillar is quite crazily large, and the amount that's just rushing out of it through you into the ground at an alarming rate is just so much that it overwhelms any amount of magical energy you could put back into it, to say, I guess. It is just kind of just dissipating at a very powerful rate. It doesn't appear to be, though. It's a very, very large crystal pillar that's kind of glowing. But in the time that you've been here, you've noticed some of the more dimmer ones dim a little bit further down, and some of them even dim entirely.
Hmm.
The elven women around the pillar kind of just look at you as you touch the pillar and turn to gems for a brief moment. And they sort of smile, but none of them really say anything. They're just sort of resting at the moment. And the lady who was resting against the pillar has fallen asleep. The lady with the cup in her hand, though, walks up to the rest of you. Hello, welcome to the city. She says in Sylvan, for anybody who can speak Sylvan. So Jade,
All of us.
All of us.
Tamar
Aaron's
cannot.
not here anymore. Oopsie, Tamar.
Tamara's just like, yes, I don't. He just looks at you, Jade.
I learned Orcish for you, Tamar. The least you can do is learn Sylvan for us.
I don't remember.
You could learn Primordial for me.
That sounds like an undertaking and a half.
Are we not worth it? Don't know.
I think
But I'm definitely worth it.
you're definitely worth it.
You don't think I'm worth it?
I'm just not very good at. I'm not good at the current languages they already know.
Okay.
Jade, this
see
is
how
when
it
you
is.
say I'm definitely worth it.
I'm so worth it.
Yeah.
Am I?
Yes.
Trudy says in like Orcish to Tamar, the answer to that question is yes.
He nods. Well, I regardless, unless you're translating for us, I can't learn Sylvan right now in this moment. As much as I would love to, personally.
That would be impressive.
It would be impressive.
I would find that very impressive.
A feat that I cannot accomplish on my own, in fact.
Oh.
In this amount of time. Meanwhile, the old lady is just kind of staring at you with this sort of blank, confused expression.
I will translate for you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. You can speak Sylvan?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
We all can.
Oh. No.
Including Uni Cornelius, who has been here the whole time.
Yes, of course! I can speak Sylvan!
If you
Our
like the
favourite
sound of
cereal.
Sylvan, then maybe learning Sylvan is good.
I can teach you, young one! I tutor in Sylvan! I'm not so sure I'd be comfortable with that. I think Uni Cornelius intimidates me.
I think learning Sylvan and Primordial is a good watch activity time thing.
Maybe. Learn one word at a time. Yes, of course! We'll start with the basics!
Fucking hell. It's very good.
So good.
Okay, Uni Cornelius is there as well. The lady
Hello,
looks at
Uni
Uni
Cornelius.
Cornelius.
Lady,
Yes.
I don't care for your name.
That's alright.
Is it 5 syllables or less?
Oh no.
Let me turn to the name page!
Okay.
Oh! Wait. It's 3 syllables, actually.
Okay, you're allowed.
It's for Caro.
That hurts.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
Okay. You're a weird bunch. What are you talking about? Uni Cornelius stands there awkwardly. So, well, what do we do now?
Go scare some elves, Uni Cornelius.
Okay, I shall go. See you later. He gallops away. Just hovering just slightly above the surface of, the ground. He's just galloping in the air, doggy paddling through the,
That's what I was imagining, was him just going...
as he flutters away with his
Oh
hooves.
my god.
He's a bit chunky, isn't he?
Does he wobble?
He wobbles.
He clapped.
Oh,
Broken his horse's anatomy if they could clap.
I don't want to dissect that too far.
I kind of do though. No, I don't.
You kind of do. I'm scared.
I'm also scared.
I'm the man who has this poster, and I'm terrified of you, Emma, specifically.
No.
Personally, this moment.
I got asked if I was a furry today.
You
And
didn't tell me this.
Of course, you said, why, of course, yes. How did you guess?
No, I forgot. It's because we were discussing the most attractive Disney princes. Don't ask me why. And
It's a good
we
conversation.
came to the Beast, and I was like, to be honest, the Beast is more attractive when he wasn't a human, because the human version's so ugly. I was like, oh, what are you, a furry? And I was like,
How could
no, the human is
just
really
that's
ugly.
just fact. That's
Yeah.
just fact.
I am a furry, and he is handsome in his beast form, right? I will put this out there. I'm putting myself on blast for all of our own sake. I will put that statement out there, alright? Cancel me on Twitter. I'm ready for this, alright? The beast is hot.
I also got my coworker thought that Flynn Rider wasn't attractive, and I was
What?
like,
Fundamentally wrong.
Incorrect.
Demonstrably false.
incorrect.
Hard to understand, but okay.
They liked Prince Eric, and I was like, Prince Eric is the basic choice.
He's so big.
I do kind of
He's
like Prince
like-
Eric, though. I do kind of like him.
But like,
I enjoy
if
Prince Eric,
what
but
if
that's
straight
other reason.
TikTok had to pick a prince to represent their community, they would pick Prince Eric. You know
Probably.
that they would.
He's
And
a
then all the girls would pick Cinderella.
closet raging bisexual, I think. Prince Eric.
Oh, he's definitely.
No, Li Shang.
Oh, yeah! You're right, actually.
Actual bisexual.
Actually true.
Yeah.
Actually true.
Li Shang
Wait,
is
Flynn Rider gives me Pan vibes.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Fellow Pan.
Oh, and Aurora and Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty, they're both each other's beard couple. They're both gay.
Beard
Yeah.
couple, I like that.
They're a QPR,
QPR?
queer platonic relationship.
Oh. I thought it was like quite pretty rad.
It's like more than friendship, but not in like
I get you.
sexual romantic.
I get you.
Because she's a cottagecore lesbian and he's a flamboyant gay.
Those are good titles.
Yeah.
Okay, to be quite honest, I don't remember exactly where we left off. I believe we were at the pillar. The ladies were there.
Doing really well.
There's an old elven lady with a cup in her hands, from which she's sipping.
trying to talk to us, and we're like,
I don't know. I think
bullshitting.
she's just kind of watched you talk amongst yourself about Disney princesses and princes,
Canon.
and she's just begun to kind of leave the.
It's best not to interact with us.
Understood. Have a nice day. And she turns around.
Have you made funeral arrangements yet?
No, but we will have to soon.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I want to turn to Cor and Driti and obviously Tamar and Nuno Cornelius because they're there as well.
He's like an ominous balloon just floating
He
above
really
us.
is like a balloon.
You know he's there because he casts a big round shadow.
You know how most people are like 70% water? He's definitely like 70% helium.
Yes, Joe.
Yeah, so,
Yes, Jade!
Una Cornelius might be the most terrifying thing in this campaign. Period.
I like him.
I'm gonna get into my, I'm dropping into my active face now. So, don't
To
make
be-
me laugh.
To be fair, he does actually have the most powerful attack of any character that's been in a fight with you
Oh,
guys,
dang.
I think. That I can think
Is
of
it like
probably.
a rainbow
And
moonbeam.
he's my steed.
That rainbow beam is insanely
Horny beam?
powerful, but I think he can only do that once per
Horn beam?
question mark amount of time.
Gotcha.
Who knows? Who knows?
Jade says, so, I am incredibly suspicious of this place. Not necessarily because I think that the residents of this city are scheming or up to no good.
They're
in any
elves.
way.
They're definitely scheming something.
Okay. However, I think that their time is done. So I say if we find the crystal heart, we just don't put it back. Because
We could just keep it.
they've... Well,
Oh,
to
that's
be
the
honest...
Crystal Heart Express.
Toot for approval.
Toot toot! To be honest, I don't understand the concept of wanting to extend a mortal life. It's hard to wrap my head around.
They
I
live
think-
so long anyway. They give
Yeah.
everyone else a hard time for it. I think we should let them have their funerals. I'll help organize them. I'm so kind.
I think that's a good idea, actually.
Mm.
We can get your mother back and find the crystal heart, and then we tell them what we're planning to do in no uncertain terms, and give them time to organize themselves. I'm sure that some of them aren't as old as the young ones. Some of them won't drop dead right away. That'll be slower.
If they live to a full elf lifespan, that's good enough.
I think so too.
I'd be
It
lucky to
seems
live even a
excessive.
tenth of that length.
Yeah, it's kind of sad actually.
Not really. I think it's about perspective, you know. I'm in a lot of turmoil and inner pain all the time, so really I'm just neutral about the idea.
Trudy, how long are you gonna live?
I don't know.
Rough estimate.
It is strange. One of my mother's ages, one of them doesn't seem to.
Interesting combination.
I've been around for many years, but the statue at least has never changed. It's just gotten slightly mossy over time. It's only my consciousness that seems to change at all.
We can garden you, Jade.
I wonder, Jade, you might actually, unless you know your age, you might be older than some of these elves here. In terms of how long your physical form has been around. I'm sure that
That's different. If Jade's immortal, then that's actually just kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you are
Well,
a living stone in a way.
Forever and ever.
Well, I'm not sure how the living
don't
part
know how-
works.
Well, I don't know about my own feelings or my own
Hmm.
self, but I do know that extending beyond your natural life doesn't feel right.
It's a strange concept.
Especially when, and I think maybe some of us can understand, especially when you're already looking at a steep climb of years ahead of you.
I have no idea how long I'm going to live.
Yep, I think 3 of us have that in common. Sorry, Tamar.
That's okay. I'm actually kind of comfortable in knowing,
But
weirdly enough.
yes,
I don't think I would want to be around for 10 times as long, personally. But that's just me.
Don't worry,
So-
Jade. I had that existential crisis many years ago.
wonderful.
That lady at the shop said something about our lives being extended if we were exposed to this magic, though, right?
Oh my gosh, run.
Maybe we should ask one of these ladies over here what the deal is with that. I can't ask them personally because I can't speak whatever language they're speaking in.
Try.
You want me to try?
Yeah, go have a conversation with them.
Excuse
Give
me?
them the eyes.
He attempts to say something in common to them. And they look at him with a puzzled look. And look at the rest of you. Is your friend trying to say something?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I don't know any common.
you could try.
I recognize that it is common. Hello. She says in common. Hello. You understood me? She looks at him with a puzzled expression. And looks back to you. Hello is all I can say.
How old are you?
Come on, what did you wish to ask?
I just wanted to
Well,
ask if we would be affected as well by the magic in this place. Or how does it work? Are our lives now extended by being here in this location? Is that how that works? That's what I wanted to ask.
She translates that.
Alright. It doesn't quite work like that. You might experience the effects for a few days, or a day or so, but after that it wears off. You have to stay here if you want to remain affected by the magic, however much of it is there is left. Oh, okay.
Right, Tamar, you've got another 50 years to go or so.
I'm happy with, that many. That sounds like a lot to still have.
I'm
stuff to do with.
58.
That is a strange idea to me, Cor. That is
Yeah.
bizarre. And Jade, you're like, how old are you, Jade?
I don't want to say.
Okay, that's fine. You look great for your age.
How old are you, Jade?
My temple, it seems to have been around for, well, considering the state of it, many, many, many years, as in maybe some thousands.
Thousands.
But I've only been around for like, as in like in my brain. I mean, I'm long enough to grow up and have a fully adult consciousness, I suppose. So,
Roll for me.
2 decades, maybe. I haven't got a very good memory.
Roll for me an intelligence check.
Okay.
Thomas,
Yeah.
considering I have pretty good knowledge of stones, could I roll a nature check on Jade
Yes,
and just
please.
see like the aging on the stone?
You could tell the aging on the stone if you'd like to.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I'm scared because I don't know.
All right, Jade. Tell me your intelligence roll.
15.
15 on
Okay.
your nature check. Okay, Core, you could tell from the stone that you can tell that the stone that Jade is made from
Old.
is at least now you've seen Jade like this before. You could say, with a rough estimation, maybe 2 million years.
What did you roll again?
A 15.
It's a very rough estimate, so I'll give it to you to the 7th digit there.
I
Well-
got 14 on my intelligence check.
With your intelligence check, Jade, something that you told me at one point early on is that you do have faint memories of the time that you've existed as a statue
Yeah.
of your temple,
Yeah.
although it might not have been super conscious. It's just sort of like a
Yeah.
dream sort of state that you've experienced. You know that you have those memories that you can kind of sort of think back to at least a few tens of decades. So you know
is
that
so existentially painful.
you know that your temple has been around for quite a while. If with your intelligence roll, you could gauge your own form as having taken place anywhere between 20 to 50,000 years, if you wanted to put a ballpark estimate from your rolls. Without rolling any higher, that's about as specific as it could get. Outside of how long you've been like conscious for.
What's up, Jade? I think his material is like a couple million years old. Go gives him a tap. Ding.
I guess that's. I guess I'm on one hand shocked, but also I guess not surprised.
I don't know how long he's been in here though. He taps Jade's head. I also don't know if he's here with us now. Jade?
I think only Jade knows that.
Uh-huh.
If Jade knows that.
Jade,
Well-
do you want to sit down?
Yes.
I mean, if you think about it, we're all kind of made up of stuff, but the stuff that we're made of kind of changes. I guess the stuff that Jade's made out of hasn't changed much.
I suppose I'm a natural occurrence, so I had to have just been here from the ground. He starts hyperventilating. I didn't think about this so deeply before.
I think
Breathe.
That's fine.
Tamara would just pat you on the back, very lightly.
Thank
Deep breaths.
Cord jumps into Jade's lap and just gives him a pat on the chest.
Okay.
This is nice.
This is comfortable. This, yes. Wow.
You may hug me if you like.
Yes, please.
I will hug the two of you from the other side.
Yes, please.
Cord just gets squashed. He disappears.
Alright, the Jade sandwich is made.
Jade just like sits across from them.
So, yes.
It's just Dreedy and the three boyfriends.
That sounds like a band.
Dreedy and the boyfriends. It is. It's such a good band.
We're a doo-wop band. Ba-da-ba-doo-ba-ba.
Skadaram-ba-ba.
Platinum hit.
Skadaram-ba-ba.
But yeah, so there's your rough answer.
Okay. I think I will get over this.
Are you sure?
To be honest, what matters is not how long my materials have been alive, but how long I have been alive, which I am pretty sure is less than, I think, maybe, potentially, but not too much less than, but around 2.5 decades. Maybe 3.
Okay.
Maybe 3.5, but not more than that, unless it is.
That makes
it's
me the
not.
oldest. Cord
And
yells
I'm the
out.
youngest.
It
You
depends
are
on,
a young...
depends on how well you've been keeping track of time, but that I think is the right ballpark estimate for you, Jade.
Yeah, 2.5 sounds about right.
That makes me the superior.
Okay.
Then where are we going?
That's
Yeah,
a
you can
great
decide.
question, Dreedy.
I think maybe your mother in the archive would be a good next step.
Your mother is in the archive?
A huge trap.
That's true. I mean, we know this.
Could like sneak in.
As long as I think we
Sneaking sounds good.
survey the area,
Mm.
you know, and make sure that our surroundings are safe and that nobody's following us. And he turns around and he sees a cloaked figure. No.
No!
I could send my familiar in.
That could be good. Maybe we should make our way to that archive in that case. That lady said it was that way, and he points in the vague direction of the easterly wind.
Okay. On account of the seriousness of the occasion, I will walk by myself.
All right.
I mean, we could always put it off if you want to tell us why you don't like elves.
Oh, I'll tell you on the way, Dreedy. Come with me. You two walk ahead.
Okay.
Hold hands. It'll be cute.
I was going to suggest something. Jade, since you've just gone through a stressful existential episode, would you like a piggyback ride?
Oh dear God.
I've given many to Cora, but never one to you.
Tamar, you're pretty strong, but this is going to be interesting.
I would like to flex my muscles a little bit, actually.
Oh. I've never had that much sustained contact with anyone other than Core before.
It's okay. He starts turning a deeper shade of olive green. It's okay if you don't want to. It's fine.
No,
When a statue and an orc love each other very much.
You climb the small mountain that is Tamar. I think you're taller than him, actually, so this is kind of funny. Just barely.
Oh.
No, Tamar's 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
6'7".
Oh, okay, so he's a little bit taller. All right, you climb atop the hill. You climb atop Mount Tamar, and with a sort of grunt,
Mountain.
You sit atop his shoulders, and you hear him squirm underneath you. How's the view up there?
That's quite similar to the one that I'm accustomed to.
Okay.
How are you able? Is this? Are you in pain?
I'm not going to talk much. That's okay. And he starts walking.
The ground shakes.
It's awkward, as it always is between the two of you, but it's kind of wholesome, low-key, not gonna lie.
Yeah. It's cute.
The absolute unit wanders off. As Core and
We're like an echidna. A green echidna.
Yeah!
They're unit. I like them.
As he transports you to the archive. Now with the others lagging behind, Core, Rodridi, you are lagging a little bit behind, left to your own devices, as Tamar powers ahead.
Let's just walk in their wake. Ah yes, the story of why I don't like elves. It is very simple. They are assholes. Specifically to me. When I was a wee child, you see, my foster mother was an elf. So I was raised partly around elves in the Feywild. And they didn't like me because I was not an elf. Yes, they were quite rude. They said that I would turn to dust and rot in the ground because that's what mortals did. And I always believed them because, like, I aged like a human until I was, like, I don't know, when do humans kind of slow down? Like 18, 19, I was aging like a human. So I spent my entire childhood believing them and thinking I was a yucky mortal who was going to die young and wrinkle. And then I got to the material plane and I realized I was none of those things. So I was bullied for no reason and the elves were assholes. And their names are far too long. And I will forever hold that against them.
I love that the name thing is just a complete separate unrelated bullet point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 bullet points. Childhood trauma and the names. They're just dumb. Stupid. Fae and elven names tend to be far too long.
Mm.
I am aware that I am Fae, but I still hate the naming system. Changelings. We have cool names. Usually only 1 syllable. Fun fact.
You're very
Like
fascinating.
Core and
She makes
I
him a
really
flower.
might want to have a changeling. Sorry, Judy.
Oh, she just makes him a flower.
Thank you. He puts it in his hat.
Cute.
Druidi, Jade, Tamar, they're all great names, in my opinion. The right amount of syllables.
True, it's just 1s and 2s.
Mm-hmm.
I was named
Jade
for-
especially. Oh, exquisite.
oh.
1 syllable.
What did you say?
Yeah, that's true.
I heard a piece of character.
I did too.
I want to hear it.
Rodridi.
What's
Oh.
the book?
She said I was named for my grandmother.
Ooh, what was your grandma Druidi or like something?
Rudri.
You are Vru Druidi. It's 3 syllables.
I never met her though, so.
I'm gonna forget about the Vru. Just for you.
She laughs a little bit.
Well, let's hope we can meet your family soon enough and that mine isn't completely dead. Slaps her on the back.
She kind of just like like pops him a little bit with her tail.
Mm-hmm.
Not like hard, just kind of like taps him a little bit on his shoulder.
You see, watch this. He transforms into a smaller version of Drudy and whacks her with the tail. I can do that too.
She laughs a little bit more heartily.
I think he continues like playing those sorts of jokes with her as he walks behind the behemoth that is Tamar and Jade.
The absolute unit.
I'm sorry that you went through that, though.
That's fine. I am a very well-adjusted person.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Incredibly so, wouldn't you say? Jade just like appears over.
Everyone doubted that.
Are you sure about that?
Has instant flashbacks to literally the previous night, and it's like,
Yeah. Drudy looks over at like Tamar and Jade. Mm-hmm.
I just need a lot of attention. So much attention.
You deserve it. It's good for you.
I know.
Please remember that Drudy actually has negative charisma.
I think Core just wraps his tail like around Drudy's
here's the
shoulders
thing.
and just pats her.
I have 0 charisma. You have negative charisma. Core has 0 charisma.
No.
Core has oodles of charisma.
No, Core. I meant Tamar. Sorry, Tamar has 0 charisma.
No, Tamar has negative charisma.
So Core has all of the charisma.
I have all of the charisma.
Which explains so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Avarice had quite a lot of charisma, but charisma is literally Tamar's worst stat. It is negative.
Yeah, charisma is also Jade's worst stat.
I've got pretty good charisma, but I have a lot of
Tamar's got
efficiency and charisma.
Tamar's got to start finding his own way in life.
I think
Half of my
this way to like all the
What
like
did you say?
low charisma. Sorry.
What did you say, Lily?
Yeah.
Oh no, I said that half of Core's proficiencies are in charisma, even though it's not. It's like
Yep. Sorry, no, I misspoke when I said Core had 0. I meant Tamar.
Well,
he's got proficiency in deception, performance, and
Is charisma incarnate.
That's so charismatic.
it's because
It explains so much.
It explains how he gets away with a lot of things, I think.
That's exactly what I mean.
Tamar's like, I like him, but I just can't just tell. I don't know why. He's just got
I
charisma.
can't pin it. I can't put the pin
figure it
into the
out.
corkboard in the right place. It also explains why when Tamar and Jade are together that they just create this like awkward black hole, basically, of charisma.
Jade's charisma is getting better as he learns. I'm not doing the thing where I max out the stuff that's important to his class. I'm just instead going for like, it's a story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh.
I think Tamar is maybe immune to having his charisma increase much, probably.
Mm.
And that's fine.
One thing I commit to is Jade will never understand the concept of money.
I love that.
That is a funny running joke.
After a
What?
couple of centuries with Core, let's hope he might maybe a little bit.
Fingers crossed.
As you walk, as you have your discussions, Core and Virginie, Jade and Tamar, you make your way over. At first, it seems like Tamar struggled a little bit, but he very quickly gains his sort of composure, and it seems like you can feel him much less tense than he was initially, and he seems to be walking in stride now, as if he's just sort of adjusted.
This is good.
What specifically?
Your pace.
Oh, thank you.
You are comfortable, and
I'm very comfortable. I got
Yes.
new pants recently. They fit very well.
Don't take this conversation out of context.
sorry.
Oh my god, I just realized.
Hang on a second. Let me just have some water, and then we will continue. Oh my god.
God damn. Alright, he waddles. At a brisk pace. Are you okay? Jade, are you okay? You seem to be dying on top of my shoulders.
Hailed as I laughed and I was drinking.
Did you inhale something up there? I know you're at a higher altitude now. I think there are dangers at that altitude. You're okay? For real.
grasping onto my voice. I need more water to counteract the fact that
It's okay. We can take a quick breathing moment, water sipping moment. Don't die.
This is fine.
Live on air.
Fine. No, everything's fine.
I'll take your word for it. Are you okay, Jade?
I'm fine. This is just a very new experience for me. I need you to understand.
In what way?
I mean, sustained contact isn't something I do.
Okay.
I don't. This is actually probably an important conversation for us to have. It's definite. The draw for me is the person, and not anything else. It's and then if it's like with Core, I spent a lot of time with him and developed that kind of like friendship, and then best friendship, and then it just changed, and then through him knowing you and knowing what I want from our relationship is where this is coming from. Yes.
Don't let the sound of my thundering footsteps distract you.
No, not at all. I just want you to understand, just to know that is my experience with feelings. Also that I struggle with them.
They are quite cumbersome.
I find them complicated rather than a nuisance. Do you find them a nuisance rather than complicated?
I find some of them to be a nuisance.
I see. Another difference.
I think I have a lot of negative internal feelings that aren't caused by any of you.
That is true.
But in attempting to deal with them, that's been kind of a nuisance. Why do I have them? I'm not so sure. I think I suffer from insecurity.
I think so too.
I feel
insecurity
inadequate.
in what? Inadequate. I see. Well, we've had this conversation, I think. If you ever need me to remind you, then I will. But you are a valuable member of the party in that you can cook very well, and you support us as we fight things.
And you carry me.
Carry Core when I am otherwise engaged.
As-
And you are a good partner.
As you say that, since your legs are like up against his chest, you know, you can kind of very lightly feel his heartbeat, and it increases a little bit. You can feel his doki doki increase.
Oh.
Quite a bit.
Increase. Quite a bit.
Yes,
Have you reverted yourself from carrying me?
Maybe there's an uphill slope that I've just noticed so
Can I roll an insight check?
Yes.
12, 17 actually. It's a 17.
17. The ground is completely flat and level.
Okay. Well, maybe we should tell Core about our newly developed conversation that we're having.
That sounds like a nice idea.
Core.
Okay. I appreciate you, Jade, very much.
I also appreciate you, actually, and
his pace increases just a little bit.
he looks back to Core. I like what we have.
He stops and turns around as well. He stops, turns around, so now you're facing the other way as well. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
I like Core too, very much. I like the two of you a lot. So thank you for existing, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Not that you necessarily...
Let's go figure out how that's possible. I have a feeling it's tied to these crystal pillars somehow.
Okay. I think I see the archive over there.
Let's go.
We've almost reached it. And the entire party makes it to the archive. You are in front of, very clearly, a building that says archive in giant sylvan letters, which Tamar can't read, but he can gather from the contextual clues around, this being a giant building of seemingly great importance in this area. This seems to be the only sort of notable structure around these parts. There are some smaller buildings which look like they're probably reserved for some more bureaucratic
things of that nature, meetings, that sort of stuff, offices, less so like residential spaces, but more like, more official kinds of buildings for who knows what kinds of boring work that, we could delve into for hours of time if we really want to do, but the archive is what's important here. And it stands in between you and your ultimate goals as players. You reach the archive. It is a grand building. It looks like a library, only bigger. Looking at it,
just like Magnus.
Oh my gosh.
Looking at it, it seems to be constructed out of like a similar sort of intricate brickwork that seems to match the sort of pavement and the very like elven sort of architecture. It's very regal, very flourished with, embellished with like that sort of those Gothic architectural sort of flourishes that you see on a lot of cathedrals and older buildings and that sort of thing. So it is quite fancy and it is quite large. Multi-storied, in fact. And there are a giant set of double doors at the very front, which are currently completely open to the public. And you can hear footsteps of some sort, so it seems like there are people in there. Would you like to enter, or would you like to do anything else while you're approaching?
I would like to send my familiar in once we're close enough.
Alright, you are pretty much you're within walking distance, so you can send your familiar in if you'd like. Go for it. What would you like to do with your familiar, and what kind of familiar are you sending in?
I'm gonna send the snake version of the familiar in, I think.
Very stealthy, I like that. Alright, are you trying to go in undetected as your familiar? Yes. Alright, can your familiar roll a stealth check for me?
Yeah, let me get the stats up. I'm a snake.
Sneaky snake.
Snake. I'm guessing it's the poisonous.
Ooh. About to kill somebody inside.
Oh, it's probably the poisonous snake. They're very small.
Nice. Okay.
So it would be a +3, I think. Well, it's a natural 20. 23.
Oh, you are hidden.
Yay! Ah, yee.
You turn the opacity on the layer of the snake down to 0 as it turns completely invisible to everybody else's eyes. You slither in to what looks like more of a library than an archive, but it does look like it has that sort of, archive-y sort of vibe to it. You see a lot of, shelves in the distances. Like, you see a whole lot of things. As you enter, I'll just get you to roll for me a perception check as you enter with your familiar, because there's a whole lot of things you're going to see in here.
If it's my eyes, it would be my perception, wouldn't it?
Yeah, go for it. Because you're looking for... Sorry.
When you're wild shaped, you're looking through your own eyes. When you're looking through your familiar, you're looking through their eyes.
Oh, okay.
Then...
That's an interesting... I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah,
I figured that out.
Catatonic.
Because I did this with another druid, and I
it's not going to make much of a difference.
The druid has perception like Brian. What I was looking through did not. I rolled lower than my minimum.
Dang, okay.
I don't have any pluses, so it's a 14.
14 is still pretty gosh darn good. There isn't a whole lot to look at aside from books, scrolls, and the like, but you do manage to get a few glimpses of interesting information. You do see, once again, that there are some elves in this archive. However, for the first time ever, you actually see some younger... They don't see you because you are nat 20 stealth, so absolutely nobody can see you no matter what. You would have to try.
Yeah, but I know that it's doing it. That's what matters.
That's true. It is the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, in this case, which is the snake, blowing raspberries at unknown passerbys. As you look around, there are a couple elves here and there that actually look a fair bit younger than the ones that you've seen previously, just kind of meandering about, ruffling through papers, ruffling through books and stuff. You see a sort of reception desk immediately to your side as you enter this grand sort of library-looking space, which is currently unattended. I think that's the right word. There's nobody there. It's completely blank. But you do see a whole lot of sort of stuff. There are shelves reaching as far as your little snake eyes can see. There are multiple floors, staircases leading up all over the place, spiraling into each other, into this, into the upper echelons of this archive. As you slither through, and you're looking around, continuing with that perception check, it does strike you initially that there's some interesting items here and there. There's a lot of locked chests and boxes and that sort of thing, which is to be expected of an archive. Who knows what could be in those boxes and that sort of stuff. There are a lot of books, and as you get further and further deeper into the labyrinth the maze of books and shelves. The books do get older, and the scrolls, that sort of stuff, clearly age as you get further and further into the, snaking around the sort of area. You do run into somebody interesting, though. You spot a familiar-looking face and a familiar-looking person. You see,
If it's Dariel, I'm gonna flip my shit.
Dariel. You see the gnome. Who knows what he was doing? Oh, gnomes! No, you don't see him. No, it's not Dariel.
It cannot be him. I refuse.
It would be very funny if it was Dariel, though. It would be very,
He
very
ran
funny.
away. Just saying, we didn't abandon him.
He ran away for the greater good, so that we didn't have to think about the semantics of him being in a relationship.
He is
Oh
somewhere.
gosh, I know where he is. I figured it. Sorry.
Where do you think he is?
I have a feeling that that the most of the magic we've seen Dariel do has been kind of lightning type magic. And remember when we teleported into that closed plane where we found Baba Yaga's hut? And then
I think Dariel's trapped in there.
Baron came across that lightning explosion.
Yeah.
That is true.
He's stuck in that closed plane with Baba Yaga. Oops.
Hey, I'm sure they'll make great friends.
Or she'll cook him, and that's a
I guess
waste of.
I know that his son is.
Unguents.
I know that his son is still missing or something, and that's fine. Look, kids.
Lots of people have missing sons.
People are
We can't
missing
deal with all the
children.
missing sons.
We can't find them all. There are some people in Barovia who have been trying to find these werewolf children for ages, and they still haven't found them. So that's fine.
How much information do you remember about Dariel's son? Because you did find out some stuff about him.
Sven,
He's
who
a
was working
small
as,
boy.
Medusa's assistant.
Yeah. Is that all you found out? Because that is correct information, yeah.
And that's pretty much what we found out.
Okay. Then that is all that you know about his son.
He might get thrown into the pit and summon Orcus. Who knows?
Who knows at this point? But, Dariel has got... There is a tangible Dariel somewhere in the world.
Yep.
Alive or dead. In one piece or many. Somewhere there is a Dariel. However, this person that you run into that is... you recognize is not Dariel. Instead, it's another unlikely, unexpected looking person. At first, you don't recognize them quite so quickly because they just look very familiar, but different. As you look at this light green non-elven lady wearing her hair in a ponytail with a bionic leg, it looks like. As you kind of slither around and try to get a better view, you look at her face, and she looks strikingly similar to Lady Valentine. Face that you haven't seen in a while. But there's just something strange about her demeanor which seems to betray that sort of idea in your head, like she might not actually be her. There's a part of you that thinks that, but at the same time, the resemblance is uncannily similar. However, you've never seen her wear her hair in a ponytail or wear such casual clothing as she appears to be wearing now, whereas usually she was wearing much more luxurious business suits, that sort of thing, with ties and that sort of nature.
I missed the power suit.
This is a much more casual, dressed down version of somebody who looks awfully similar to Lady Valentine, with that sort of a human look to her, with that strange light green tint to her skin, almost reminiscent of an orc that you remember her having. And that's a skin tone that's unique to her that you've seen, as far as you've seen. Outside of that, not too much else, unless you're looking for something very, very specific in this archive, but slithering around, that's the kind of gist of what you get an idea of. There are multiple levels, there's some staircases, there's a lot of stuff to look through and sift through if you'd like to look for information. So,
can I try and track a path that looks like it would be going? So when when Greedy scryed on Ilaria and told us all the details, am I wrong in remembering that we could see the sky from where she was, or did she seem to be deep underground?
Deep underground.
Okay, I would like to try and go underground, if possible.
Okay. You look around, and in your snake body, outside of this ground floor, you don't seem to notice any downward passages. You do notice a few doors here and there that seem to be locked. Maybe a couple. You'd see one on one side of the archive, and then looking around, you'd see another on the other side. But it's hard to say whether or not what's on the other side of these doors heads directly down or not. But in snake form, you would not be able to slither through these doors. And they do not open with the push of your snake snoot.
My snake.
If you boop the door does not
What
open for
about... There would be ventilation down there. Can I try and find any ventilation ducts?
you. Ventilation ducts?
Like areas to get through? Because there would have to be ventilation for them to be breathing. So can I roll an investigation?
Only if there was a basement or something, right? Or what do you mean? Because this right now is just ground level that you're on.
No, I want to try and get underground. So I'm looking... If I assume that they are in the archives, there would be rooms under the archives, and they would need oxygen down there, and they need ventilation.
In that
so
case,
I would like to try and find...
In your search, you would not end up finding any ventilation ducts.
Okay. I will pop back into my own body. Apparently nobody's breathing down there, because I can't find any ventilation ducts.
What did you find? Are they there? Dree's family and all.
I didn't see anyone. I can't get down.
Could it be that there's a secret hidden doors or something along those lines?
Did you see any doors?
Maybe. Or maybe my snake's too small to find anything. I'll push the doors open.
If we need to get underground, I can borrow us a passage.
That's true, and then we can hole up and I can re-release my snake.
Thinking anyways was Badger. But
that might be
true.
useful. I have seen grass patches around. Shall we try let you dig in that case?
perhaps we don't do it so out in the open. Maybe we go behind the building and burrow into it.
Good idea, Trudy.
Okay, I like the idea of that. So do you walk around to the back of the building?
Yes.
All right.
Can we sneak?
You can sneak. Roll for me some
Can
stealth
we meld
checks.
into stone?
You can if you'd like.
I wonder,
There are crystal pillars all around, so if you'd like to blend into stone, like crystal-like stone, you could do that. There is a shimmering effect that the pillars give onto you, so you do kind of already start to blend in a little bit. So if you wanted to do something like
just
that,
trying to figure out whether this is the right time to use it, because I could wait until, in case there's like a more high-stakes situation.
This is a very, right now you're in a very low-stakes area. It seems like this is very low populated.
Okay, then I'm not going to use it yet. If
like
we need
there's,
it, we can...
yeah. It seems like there's a low chance of you getting found, and a high chance that if you get found, you're going to be found by like somebody you're
okay, so I rolled
in need of a
3.
walking stick, basically.
Okay. Together that's an 11.
Okay, and the rest of you?
Oh, sorry, what was it again? The stealth.
Stealthy. Sneaky sneak.
Nice. 19.
Oh, I have luck. I'm gonna use luck.
Go for it.
Oh, did Core mention that he saw Lady Valentine inside?
Oh yes, I saw Lady Valentine, but she wasn't Lady Valentine.
Lady Valentine. What do you mean?
Maybe she is Medusa.
16.
16, okay. I'm curious about that. Alright, and you are all stealthed. So you make your way through the very neatly cut golf course-like grass, hiding behind the pillars as you go, kind of like sidling along the edges of the building. You do come across, like, areas that have windows that peer out, nice big stained glass windows that kind of peer into the inside, and you do your best to, like, duck under those, make your way around. You eventually come to a point where there's another set of double doors on the complete opposite side of the library, which wasn't visible to Core when Core went there as a snake. So it seems to have another entrance from the other side of it. So you've got sides and you've got the back side. That part seems to kind of sprawl into this sort of hedge maze type garden layout, which is not directly connected to the doors. You kind of like choose not to go into that, but there it seems to be like a much more grassy area out here, with some trees that don't have any leaves on them, bushes that don't have any leaves on them, and a hedge maze which does have some remainder of foliage on it. So there's plenty of areas to burrow into the ground if that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, that's about as much as you see. Past this point, past the archive, it sprawls out a lot more, and you can see some farms in the distance, and that's kind of it. Then it just stretches out into the horizon, and then you see mountains in the distance, but that's quite far off from that point. This seems to be like you're on the edge, on the outer rim of the city at this point. Like how you entered before, you are now like to the east instead of to the south where you entered from. So Vidri, how would you like to do this if you're burrowing?
I would like to wild shape into a cave badger.
Yeah, okay.
What that looks like is, you know how badgers tend to have like those two like streaks down the back? So essentially, Drudy looks like a rose bush, but like the streaks down the back are like roses.
That's pretty.
That's
That's cute. I like that. All right.
And the reason I went with cave badger is because they have tremor sense up to 60 feet.
Ooh.
Okay.
So I'd like to start burrowing down into the ground, and I would like to use that tremor sense to. I by the way, when cave badgers burrow, they have a burrow speed of 15 feet, normal speed of 30 feet, and they do leave a trail, like a tunnel behind them. So, and they're a medium-sized creature, so it'll be large enough for everybody else to follow behind.
We can wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle.
Yes.
Wiggle through.
But also would like to get down into the earth and feel around for maybe crystal sensations or other things going on.
All right. So you burrow into the earth, and I'm guessing you're attempting to confirm the whereabouts of the basement level of this establishment. As you burrow down, as you're kind of going against the... I'm going to say that once you burrow down, you kind of follow the wall a little bit so that you get an idea of like where the building is, and you're going to just head straight down until you find something that's kind of out of the ordinary, a little bit peculiar. One thing that you would notice...
A little bit of a
diagonally into it.
Yeah, just so that everybody has a little bit easier of a time walking.
Okay, fair enough. As you burrow further and further, and you burrow quite far, and you keep burrowing through earth and dirt and that sort of thing. And for the most part, you don't see anything too interesting. You see a whole lot of like roots from, shrubs that are probably on the surface level. But as you get a little bit deeper, those start to disappear, and you just burrow further and further, and there's like worms and that sort of stuff in the soil. Some of them glowing, kind of cool, kind of interesting. But you get to a point where you feel like you've burrowed like quite far underneath the archive at this point, without going too deep. And as far as you could tell, it seems to be pretty soily, pretty dirty under here, in the very literal sense of that, in there being a lot of dirt. And as you kind of burrow around and maybe change directions a little bit to kind of get an idea of the area, you kind of start to get the idea that maybe there isn't anything underneath this place.
What?
Okay, so there's nothing underneath the archive. Is there anything under, like, am I getting approaching any sort of power source for this for these crystals, though?
What do you mean by crystals?
Like
so the crystal and pillars, when you said that like the energy
that magic and that sort of thing,
deep, that was where I was like, okay, so I have two things that I want to look for. One, basement level. Two, the power source.
Sure. Okay. As you sort of burrow deeper and deeper, the magic from the crystals, or the crystal, like the crystalline pillars that kind of stick out from the ground, that magic seems to get weaker and weaker as you go into the ground. You could partially guess that's maybe because, penetrating through the floor like that, the magic would dissipate quite quickly. But also in reverse, you could assume the same as the other way is true the reverse way around, as in, it doesn't seem like whatever power source was giving these crystals the energy is underground. As in, the power of the crystals seems to get quite clearly weaker as you go deeper and deeper into the earth. Until you approach, if you dig closer to, a crystal pillar, it would get quite thick into the ground, and it stretches very far into the earth. But even that, the part of the crystal rock that kind of delves deep into the inner planet that you're on, or the ground itself, or whatever, the magic in it seems to be a lot more concentrated at the top than it does at the bottom, as the crystals themselves seem to be far less magical, if magical at all, even at this level.
Okay.
So I guess if you're asking for the source of the magic, whatever the power source is, or whatever it was, if there is one, because the crystals just seem to be losing power at the moment, seems to probably come from around surface level, from what you could tell.
Okay. And with my tremor sense and passive perception, am I picking up on anything odd underground that would indicate...
Anything interesting? With your tremor sense, getting closer to the floor of the archive, you might feel some light tremors of people moving their feet around and putting books back into the shelves. If you feel those tremors through the floor, outside of that, you wouldn't feel anything unusual or uncommon or anything too interesting outside of what you're kind of looking for. Outside of maybe some wildlife, there are some strange worms and bugs that you might not have seen before that are probably unique to this place. You could maybe garner that they're a lot older than most other worms around in the world because of, crystal-related reasons. But that's sort of what you gather, I think. There isn't a whole lot under here, but a lot of dirt. If you get very, very close and you're looking at the actual construction of the library itself, or the archive itself, you would get some other information. But that would be only if you're digging like up against the wall of the building itself, kind of closer to the surface.
Okay.
But outside of that, nothing sus here. No imposters lurking about.
No imposters.
For all you know, at least.
Among us.
Among us.
Also, Thomas, if you want to check the chat real quick.
Which chat?
Is it Discord?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Yeah, all good, all good. We will wrap up then very shortly in that case. If you guys are all good to do that.
Yeah, if Drady hasn't found anything, she'll just come back up and take a moment to shift back and just say there's no basement, there's no the place we're looking for is not here.
Okay.
Unless have we
Sorry.
Is there any possibility it's on a different plane of existence? I know some of your magics can't get to those places, but
it has to be on this plane for me to see it. So Ilaria is on this plane, and I think that
the archive was a dead end, maybe?
I'm not so sure.
The archive is not necessarily a dead end, but the Medusa, not Lady Valentine inside, is... I'm assuming she is Medusa for the time being, because if she's not who she's supposed to be, then I assume that she is under Zefsi's control.
We should at the very least investigate this a little bit more thoroughly, because I don't feel quite so right about this. From what we've figured out, and the breadcrumb trail leading here, it feels rather strange that we can't seem to make any sort of external physical connection to this place. Maybe we should have a look inside. Maybe we should get disguises and head inside.
I don't think you're wrong.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I was a little bit wrong. Thanks.
Oh. No, that was correct and good input.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Okay. Let's find your missing family, Driti.
Let's do it.
So stealth, disguise, whatever it takes to...
We'll figure out some sort of disguise. I can find some fake ears.
Is that enough?
I think I would make a great elf.
Or we lure this person out so there's no collateral damage.
That might also be a much smarter idea than what I had in mind. Alright. In that case, let's discuss and prepare, and we'll think about that.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And so Tamar sits down with you
and
in the field of
Cornelius,
green.
does that sound like a plan to you?
Yes, of course! I think that sounds wonderful! I am ready for anything! I will blast them away to smithereens! Just let me know when to let go of my magic rainbow beam!
Well, if they are searching out the stones, we might have Cornelius make a very good lure.
Yes, I'm a great stone! I'm the best one! And
perfect.
He gallops around in his everlasting glee as the rest of you sit down, chill, plan your hearts out with Tamar, Kor, Vidridi, Jade, Cornelius, all of you now in this nice little garden area. And I think here is where we'll call it a slightly quicker, abrupt end. Thank you very much for playing today. Lots of love. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
for watching.
Thanks for playing. Love you guys heaps. Always fun to see you guys for these crazy sessions. This was as wild as they always get. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next one. I usually can't predict it. Thank you. I hope you're doing okay.
Okay. I'll tell you after we finished.
Alright, we'll be back tomorrow
for D&D. So if you like D&D, stay tuned for tomorrow's session of Disappointment Crew. And then in 2 weeks from now, we're going to have another Shiny Boys. So stay tuned if you like this kind of content. I'll catch you all later. Thanks for watching. Lots of love.